Just wanted to issue a short disclaimer at the beginning of this episode. During this episode, we discuss the Sony plans to close the PlayStation 3 store, PSP store, and PS Vita store. Fortunately, Sony must have heard us even before we released this and actually reversed their decision on closing the PS3 and PS Vita stores. So just know that that gets discussed during this episode. We went ahead and left the conversation in because there's a lot of other good discussion around it. But good news for gamers, and just wanted to get that out of the way before the episode starts.
Hello and welcome to the Video Game Dads Podcast. This is episode 59.
59?
Yeah, the Video Game Dads Podcast, where three guys in a basement talk gaming, fatherhood, and everything in between. We are your hosts. I am Ben.
I am Adam.
And I'm Michael.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us. If you're new to us, we are family friendly, so we promise we're not going to cuss. But that being said, no promises there won't be some adult content. So if there's a little innuendo there, we are not rated E for everyone. Maybe T for teen.
PG-13-ish.
PG-13, but not PG-13 of the 80s. Yeah. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Like, wasn't Raiders of the Lost Ark, Rip Out Your Heart, PG-13, right? Something like that?
If the innuendo is little, it's only because it's cold.
Yeah. Gotcha there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Urine sickle. I kind of have a weird recollection from our last episode. I'm surprised I didn't get that. We should put that on a bumper sticker. Sorry if you don't know what that meant. You need to watch the last episode. Watch it like a silent movie. Where can you find us?
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/videogamedads.
Yeah, and email us. Email us at videogamedads@yahoo.com. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, email us at videogamedads@yahoo.com. Thank you for the emails. And you can always give us a review on iTunes. We appreciate that. Sorry, we don't have a Patreon. Our Twitter is kind of non-existent except checking for game deals and stuff. You could still message us there, but mainly it's Facebook, and the email is a good way to get a hold of us. Sorry, it's been a little while. We always start out with this. We were meaning to get together the last couple times, but we've had some changes and big announcements maybe. I don't even know. Do you want to say the announcement? We didn't prompt this before we started.
Yeah.
Why is it taking us? No, this wasn't the reason.
No, well, I mean, I couldn't make it actually a few weeks ago when we were actually planning on it because I actually ended up having another child.
Oh, wonderful.
New baby in the family.
Congrats. And like Junior, right? You had it, or your wife?
She had it. Yeah, I know. That's a good movie. Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito. But yeah, no, it was another boy, so now I got 3 boys. So
crazy, man.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Kind of feel a little bad for my wife.
Protect the collection.
Yeah. But
congrats. And moving on up to the minivan.
Yes. We just picked up a minivan because it's hard to fit.
Yeah.
So does it have TVs?
No TVs. I can always upgrade it though. I thought about that, but it's really more of my wife's minivan. If it was my minivan, then it for sure would have TVs in it. But
and speakers.
And speakers. But she just wanted leather seats. She's really into heated seats. I actually don't like that at all.
My wife too. Women like the heated and cooled seats.
I sweat. I feel like whenever I run the heated seats.
The heated seats are meh. Cooled seats is where it's
No,
at.
I really like the cooled
Ventilated
seats. My buddy has that
where,
on his truck, and it is really nice.
It's surprisingly nice. It's kind of like the first time you use a bidet. It's like you're kind of like, this is going to be weird. And you're like, it is, but I'm also okay with it.
Right.
Yeah, so check out your ventilated seat. Yeah, ventilated seats.
Yeah, throws your fart right back at you.
Yeah, right. God, I haven't even thought about that now. Now I'm going to be scared to do that. But it's a nice feature. One of the few things. Cars have all this extra stuff. Some of it you need and don't need, but ventilated seats are pretty good.
Like my car is like 8 years old, but this new van, one feature that I like is it actually tells you the speed limit, like right next to actually how fast you're going on the car, because it has like internet essentially like built into it.
Yeah.
And my car doesn't do that. So
You mean the speed limit? I'm sorry. So yeah,
like on the current road you're on.
Yes, mine.
Like
yep.
yeah, my 2013 like Altima does not
Right.
Have that.
Right. I just got a 2020 vehicle myself, and I love that. It'll say the speed.
Mm-hmm.
It'll say when I'm going up, and mine even has when you turn the signal, it has a camera that shows you my blind spot.
Oh, nice.
So I don't need to turn my head. Which
nice.
is great until I drive my wife's car.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that, and then I'm instantly like, oh, what am I in the 1900s?
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's car has that adaptive cruise control. You know,
Oh,
where
I
it matches
love
the
that.
speed in front of
Oh
you.
yeah,
And,
yeah. I like that.
Yeah, if I drive her car like on a long trip or something like that, and then I come home, I always nearly rear end someone.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
for
adaptive
sure.
cruise rules. Mix that with
I don't like the thing where it like warns you when somebody's like, pulling in front of you or whatever, just
Yeah.
because I feel like it does it too often.
yeah.
And I feel like I'm just not just
You're saying
brag
you-
or anything, but I'm just a good enough driver. Like the lane control thing where it shifts you back. And
You're talking
everything
your
like
van
that.
has that?
Yeah. As all. I'm sure you could turn it off.
You
though.
can, yeah, the collision, whatever.
But my wife likes it, so I have to leave it on.
What
Gotcha.
kind is it? Which one?
Honda Odyssey.
The Odyssey. Mm-hmm. The one with the pyrotechnics commercials.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even look into the minivans. I let my wife do all that.
Yeah, we had a Pacifica before our current car, and I really liked it actually.
Yeah,
But-
no, I'm a huge fan of the minivans.
Yeah, my wife was the one that did not like the minivan. So
Yeah, I think they're underrated, to be honest with you. Like, especially after having an SUV before. I don't know. I just think it has slightly more features. It doesn't look quite as cool, but I think on the inside it has better features.
That's right.
That's just my
yeah, I mean, minivans become much more appealing after you give up.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Completely.
true too. I mean, but like I don't know. I guess who am I trying to impress anymore? So
Yeah, you kind of gotta own the minivan, and also great room for lots of activities.
that's true. Well, I'm also thinking about for pickups too.
Easy to get in and out.
Yeah, I also think buying stuff. I just have like an Altima, and we had like a CRV before.
Sure.
So kind of a small thing, but if I
Sure.
need to pick up something large, I see
yeah.
on like the marketplace or Craigslist,
Something on the side of the road.
something on the side of the road.
Yeah, like yeah.
You never know what you're gonna
You never,
find.
like a railroad tie. You can now pick that up.
Right. Like a nice Sony Trinitron or something. Now I have a thing
yeah.
to go and pick it up in.
Did I tell you guys though? I'm sure I said this on a previous podcast, but when I sold a Sony Trinitron 37-inch CRT,
Oh yeah, that's a heavy boy.
and I put it, and it was like Sword of the Stone when I put it at the end of my driveway with a big free sticker. And this is when I rented that house on Warnell, which is a relatively busy street. So a lot of people came by, and it was
Sure.
basically free, but it was Thor's hammer. It's like you can wield it if you can pick it up.
Yeah.
And I saw these people and it was kind of cold out. I saw these people trying their best.
That's funny.
I couldn't lift it myself, right?
Yeah.
So you needed
Furniture
at
dolly or
least two
something?
strong people. Well, I missed the person that actually got it in, but I got to see 3 people fail.
Wow.
But the nice thing is they didn't destroy it when they failed. They put it back. But when I saw people just give up, and anyway, I should have put like free. Maybe I should have said heavy on it, but I think they would have assumed that.
That's like this TV I have over here on the floor that I need.
Oh no, that was a. I bet you it was
It's
this
probably about the
exact
same
same.
size, 'cause
Yeah.
that's a 37-inch, and it weighs almost as much as a minor moon.
Oh yeah, what is that? A Zenith or Toshiba? What
That's
is
a
that?
Toshiba.
Oh yeah.
It's a flat screen Toshiba 37-inch. I love that TV, but it is heavy.
Oh yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Those things are ridiculous. I picked up a TV, a TV that was like meant to look old but new.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You sent me a picture.
Yeah,
of
it was
it.
a Crosley Custom. If you are people who like to look up stuff and you like the weird stuff and you like me, look up a Crosley Custom TV. I hadn't mentioned on the podcast because I didn't want anybody fighting me over what, because they're kind of uncommon now. They were everywhere, like
Now
Yeah,
that
it's
you,
something
now that
like
you bought them
10
all
years
up.
Yeah, they were like a Target, I think. Yeah.
yeah, they were even in like any place that sold like record players and stuff. So it's called the Crosley Custom, but it's basically look up like retro Crosley TV, and it's a 1080 LCD. Came out like 2012. 2013, maybe something like that, but it looks like an old tube TV, and it's got dials on the front, and it's like got wood grain on the side. It's awesome. Yeah, and it was finally got one that went cheap. Some people list them, put them up there for like $500, but they used to be on Woot and stuff and sold at clearance. They were at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. They look very 70s and stuff. I love it.
Somebody's getting a call.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That ringer probably didn't sound like somebody else's ringer. It's always the best when it's like a common
Everyone
ringer.
checks their phone.
Yeah. That one was.
That happens to me at work all the time.
Bad.
We're on call, man. We gotta check it. But
We got just about
That's all.
everything.
okay.
We can talk about like what else we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
The
Which
episode.
yeah. Well, I'll leave that to Michael. Michael, what are we going to talk about this episode?
You know, we're going to have the video game book club coming up here in a little bit. Everyone's favorite. I think a little bit later we'll have the handheld holler.
Holler.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Maybe we'll talk about some of the mail that will have been sent our way, some of our recent pickups.
Yep.
And maybe a little bit of what games we've been playing.
But we're going to see our favorite games based on fast food or something like that. No, we actually...
Just trying to be you.
Yeah.
MC Kids.
We try to make our episodes like 2+ hours. This one probably won't be as long because we got started a little bit late, but we're definitely going to hit the highlights and talk about some things. One thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was like PSN closure, digital versus... I thought that was somewhat interesting.
It is kind of interesting.
Yeah. So we'll kind of go where the wind blows with what we'll talk about, but definitely give you some information about PlayStation Network digital purchases. A lot of things are going away. A lot of things that you can only get in that form, which are some great games, are going to pop away. So we might talk a little bit. We'll definitely talk a little bit about that, and then also a negative side of this that's being. Everybody's doing these videos about what you can buy on PSN, but not many people are talking about the fact that also patches and downloadable games.
This is actually probably the bigger issue.
Yes, which will soon be talked about. Probably by the time this airs, it'll be old news. But mainly it's patches and updates that are making some games unplayable that are also getting lost too, which is something that should be noticed and you should be warned about, I guess. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And what do you say we just kind of go and get started, jump into it, huh? We ready for our...
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. I think it's time for our video game book club.
Looks like Daddy's bringing home the barbecue. A big sack of McDonald's McRib sandwiches. Grilled pork and that sassy sauce. Tempting, huh? Like a barbecue in a bun without the bones. And with a big icy Coke, it's, well, you're only human. On Daddy Chomp. The good time, great taste of McDonald's McRib for a limited time, only at McDonald's.
All right, our video game book club was brought to you by the McRib at McDonald's. It's back. It temporarily.
Ooh.
Actually, I don't know.
Sassy sauce.
Sassy sauce.
Everyone's favorite time of year.
Dude, that commercial might be. I mean, we've had a lot of great ones, but that sponsor is wonderful. Just for the smooth transition from talking into song, who can do that? I sure can't. And
McDonald's got their money's worth.
Daddy's got a bag of McRibs coming home. That's what it looks like. And then you get this slow guitar. But we don't mind if you want to just replay that. If you're listening to this and you want to go back 30 seconds from me talking and listen to that again, because it only gets better every time you hear it.
I know. It feels like that commercial was made specifically to be played during Roseanne.
Good call. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, just it's got like the whole same vibe with it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's good stuff. Yeah, and you should probably watch it too, even though it plays good just listening. But either way, we're really fortunate for this sponsor, and they really, unfortunately they sent us the McRibs in the mail without dry ice or anything, so they're kind of spoiled. But we still ate them.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that you can spoil a McRib. You know that
You're right.
they're still on the first pressing of the McRib.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think I got last year's version. It tastes the same.
Yeah,
So.
and rare can you find a commercial of something that's 30 years old. It looks exactly like it does today. And
They're still using the same sandwich for the commercials today.
Yeah, with an icy cold Coca-Cola.
Sassy sauce.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. So anyway, we thank you for that. Some of you failed to mention at the beginning, stay tuned for Grayson's Game Shark. We will be adding that in a surprise segment some point in our episode because, truthfully, last time we met, we failed to record the episode. We had some things happen. There was an earthquake or something. But we did get Grayson's Game Shark recorded a couple weeks ago, so we will implant that there. So if we sound 3 weeks younger, that's why. But, yeah, so
And
thank you
I'm
for that,
gone.
Grayson.
I've seen so much since then.
Yeah, I know. The world has changed in many ways since then. But Grayson's Game Shark is still here. We're just going to plug it in somewhere. Eventually, we'll get a good sponsor for that, too, I'm sure. But he's got to work his way up just like we did.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't just start at the McRib. No. We had to pay our dues with hot potato.
Yeah. We started. We started
Kool-Aid
with
Man.
we started with White Castle and Mr.
Oh.
Pibb.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, I heard somebody say something funny. I think it was on a movie I was watching the other day. I never heard this before because he said, "Do you know Mr. Pibb?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's like Dr. Pepper, right?" And they're like, "Well, it's like Dr. Pepper's uneducated brother."
there you go.
I thought, oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can fix your car, but it won't work quite right. So our video game book club is a segment where we choose a game not usually in the top 15% of whatever system library we're on, and we talk about it much like a book club on the following episode. And we also invite our listeners to submit a suggestion for the book club. You don't have to stay on the system we're currently on. But we usually do a dad pick and a listener pick. Last time was no exception. We had a listener pick and a dad pick. Our dad pick was Adam.
3D Dot Game Heroes.
Yeah, Adam picked this one out. 3D Dot Game Heroes, which
for the PS3.
for the PS3. And surprisingly, like when we talked about this game, it felt like not that expensive of a game, $30 game, and coincidentally,
It's weird. I mean, you should look at this graph on price charting. It's right here.
So I mean, technically, we could maybe say we had something to do with it, but that would just be us having some. I think what happened is just PS3 has blown up. If you follow like game values and stuff, randomly PlayStation 3 has popped up right around the PSN. Everybody's thinking about it, but it went from being a $30 game to
That's like $100 now.
$100 game.
Yeah.
But when we
Wow.
initially talked about, we don't like to really pick expensive games for this because we want you to be able to have. But you might have in your game.
Yeah, when I picked it, I was thinking, this is like a $25, $30 game.
And it kinda
somewhat
was.
affordable. Yeah, and it was.
At the time. So what this also means, I guess, is if you have a local game store and you're in not a big area, you might be able to pick this thing up for the same price.
Not, I mean, it's not super common, but it's not that rare either.
No,
Yeah, you can find it.
it fills the niche because it's an Atlas game. It is a game that is basically kind of like a Zelda clone. That's also a kind of Zelda Mario Maker in a way. We'll talk about it here in a second, but that's why it kind of blew up. It's just really odd that, I mean, if you look at the price starting spot, it kind of looks like, unfortunately, like a COVID graph or something like that. It just blew up. But interesting game. And our other game that was submitted by a listener pick is
Ghoul Patrol.
Yeah, Ghoul Patrol for the SNES, which I had never played before. So we could start talking about them. What do you guys think? What do you want to start with?
Well, we start with 3D Dot Heroes, I suppose.
Yeah, 3D Dot Game Hero. So you got any stitty
I got the
stats?
stats. Yeah, so the stats are, this is published by Atlas, like you already mentioned. It was developed by Silicon Studio. And
Are they still around? Who knows?
yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess it depends on where you're from, who the publisher was. It was Atlas in the U.S. It's From Software in Japan.
Ooh.
And it's South Peak Games in Europe.
Ooh.
And it released in Japan in November 2009 and everywhere else in May of 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And like you were saying, this is basically an homage to old school adventure games, specifically, and most heavily Zelda.
Yes.
So when I say Zelda, I'm talking like the sort of overhead versions of Zelda, either the original Zelda or A Link to the Past, kind of Zelda. So, but it is a little bit more 3D than that. Think about the overhead, but if you made it 3D and you tilted it backwards, and then all of the characters they're your fingers called pixel art, but they're 3D pixel art, so they're voxel art characters.
Right.
So they're 3D characters.
Is that what it's called? Wait, this is a good pro tip there. Is that called voxel art?
I don't know. That's just what I called it. But yeah,
Oh, cool.
But if you could think of pixels It's like if you've ever seen that 3D Mario amiibo, you know?
Oh, sure,
The old
yeah.
school one?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like those kind of characters.
Yeah.
So it's everything in the game, characters, backgrounds, everything else are all made of these voxels. And they really play on that a lot in this game.
Right.
Meaning that, like, even when you have a battle and you destroy an enemy or
Yeah.
everything like that, they break into their voxels.
Yeah,
You know, break into
they
their
split
little
apart,
pieces.
which is really, honestly, really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because
you know?
when you have something like that, it's fun to watch it kind of blow up. And I love like pixel art that's like fire pixel art, like on what is it called? Rocket League. There's one like where you can pick that as and it's like the coolest trail to see like a voxel pixel art like fire or something like that. Yeah, it's very cool. And the whole story of how everything started out in like 2D.
Yeah, it starts in 2D, and then
the first 15 minutes of this game is so great.
Yeah, and the intro in it is kind of like an intro to a Zelda game. You know, there's like a boy hero, and then there's an evil, dark force, taking over the land.
Yeah.
And, you must go save someone. And
Yeah.
even at the beginning of the game, you have to find a sword,
Yes.
So there's all these, honestly, I think it was in some ways a little bit ballsy for them to make this game because it is so similar to Zelda.
Yes.
Because, Nintendo doesn't like people doing stuff really
Yeah.
similar
Right.
to their stuff. And I mean, it's not the same thing. It's like watching a
It's kind of an homage.
Yeah, it's an homage or a spoof of a game, and you
Right.
know what the spoof is. So it's like watching, Hot Shots with Charlie Sheen versus, Top Gun with Tom Cruise.
Right.
Kind of thing. But man, it's, but it parallels Zelda
Yeah.
pretty closely.
And I think-
especially early in the game.
I think what was something that would have made this game even better, not to say that it's not great now, but is they almost could have kept going with it because they at times get silly, but they also have it enveloped in like a lot of seriousness. So it's not slapstick, but there's a lot of homage to like Dark Souls, Skyrim. There's little nods and little Easter eggs and things like that in either the text or some of the things.
Yeah,
that you
they
can
just
do.
make little references, and even in the environments and things, there'll be little tips of the hat, to other games and stuff. So it's, especially if you like this kind of game, it's fun to play just solely because of that. But it's also just a fun game to play.
Yeah.
It's more simple than most of your Zelda fare, I suppose. I mean, the puzzles aren't quite as complex, and the dungeons aren't as quiet.
Sure,
quiet.
this is not Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everything's not as layered. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you play, especially the later 3D Zeldas. Like everything is actually pretty intricate. In the dungeons and that kind of thing.
They hone their craft.
Yeah, so this is more of a pick up and play, easier, like straightforward design. And like I said, it's definitely think of it, even though it's in 3D, it's designed much more after 8-bit, 16-bit Zelda, than even though it's warped into 3D.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. I mean, you level up your power, you level up your weapons, and that kind of the funny sort of thing about this weapon wise is you have like this sword that you get that like fills up half the screen. It's just this huge sword.
Eventually, yes,
eventually
yeah.
it gets bigger and bigger. But
Well, you have a nice sword at the very beginning,
Yeah.
then you lose it, and it's bad. But slowly but surely, the sword and the upgrade system, I think, is done really well. And like you said, the spoiler alert is the best part. Is like the screen. That is the part that, like, tongue in cheek, they make the ultimate sword weapon. You walk into it. Imagine in Zelda walking into a dungeon and just whipping out the BFG gun in a sword, and you clear the whole screen, and you end up breaking the game by then. But that's kind of like the new game plus. Like you have to. It takes a while to get to that point, but it's super worth it. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, as far as the gameplay and everything, it's kind of like I said, you would expect for something paying homage to those games. It's well written. The music is appropriate for what it should be.
Yeah, I thought the music was good. I think we should also mention the character, how you can create your own character.
Oh yeah, that is a cool feature.
And completely, right? So you have that 3D space to kind of Minecraft a character together before Minecraft, right? This is kind of before. Well, wait.
There are preloaded characters, then you can have it like, I think there was a random character design.
Yeah.
And then...
But you can download characters as well, which that's where the money is, because
Okay.
you can basically create a Zelda, and there's a way you can...
Yeah,
and of
you
course,
can play as Link in this game if you wanted.
Yeah, and if PSN shuts down, I don't know how that works, but yes, you can like get kind of like the Wii. I don't know if you guys ever do that with the Wii. Did that you downloaded other people's Mii characters that looked like celebrities and stuff? Like there's a Jack Black. There's like Stewie Griffin.
Me and my brother used to trade back and forth. Mii's and Mii Plaza.
Oh yeah, I still luckily have them all. I have a bunch.
Yeah, and it was funny because you go back into it and there'll be new characters show up that after you left.
Yeah. So same kind of thing, if you know what I'm talking about, I guess, where you can just have other people make pixel art that you can like download. Not as easy as like how things are now with your telephone, how you can just trade things instantly. Takes a little bit of work, but not too hard to do, but also really fun to just make your own character. But the default character is great. He's kind of like if Zelda kind of had a bigger hat and was blue instead of green.
Yeah.
Not as fairy like.
Yeah, and you still have like you even have like a little fairy helper kind of.
Oh
thing
yeah,
with it, but I don't know. The whole thing just feels like it ought to feel, I suppose, and it still even has the overhead screen kind of showing you where you are and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, I played this before, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and loved the heck out of it. Kind of fell off and. Got to about the same part. I did not beat the game. It's not a terribly hard game to beat and maybe like complete. And but if you are a Zelda fan or adventure fan, this is definitely something that should be on your want list. Or if you haven't heard of it, or if you have, let us know what you think too. We're always like interested in like what you ended up really liking about it. But it just checks all those boxes of being just such a cool. The name is a little odd. 3D dot game heroes. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you could have called it because you couldn't have, again, with the copyright thing you're saying, it is so close that luckily I think the create a character was something they did strategically because that in the past in video game litigation has been a way to thwart they created Zelda themselves, not me. Mm-hmm. Even better than you could say, well, this guy's blue, he has a hat. Zelda's this and has a hat and that kind of thing. You could say, well, there's also a chicken that you can be. Like you can be random stuff. You don't even have to look like a human.
After Dark Cloud 1 and 2 on PS2, I don't think you could rip off Zelda any harder.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, sorry, PlayStation 2 fans.
Yeah. So let's see. We kind of talked about music. Gameplay's kind of as you'd expect. I didn't find any issues with. I will say sometimes I would get a little lost in the old Nintendo way of what to do next. Yes. There were some times that I needed to actually look up a good wiki fact to go to the next thing because I got stuck. And getting stuck in 2020, 2021 is totally different than getting stuck back then because that was kind of expected. But nowadays with modern games, you always expect a hint. You expect to have your hand held. If you like that sort of thing, you should like this game. But I also think it would be difficult to get through it without getting through a facts of how to beat certain things or how to cheese something or get something a little bit better.
Yeah, you got to know where the thing is. Or there's stuff it's again, just like Zelda, there's something that makes you run faster. There's things there's things that help you, jump or run faster or do a thing that unlocks an area that was otherwise
the metric thing
to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's
some trial and error.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of that sort of thing, backtracking and I saw that, now I have to remember it because I will be able to do something with it once I acquire a new item.
Right.
That kind of thing. But just like Zelda, that can get confusing and kind of frustrating at times because there's all these things that you have to remember to go back to do.
Yeah, and the tilt shift thing that you mentioned at the very beginning, is a cool camera effect. I think you mentioned that, but I'll reiterate that's been done a lot more since. But at the time, it was still kind of novel, and I know SimCity did that, and then SimCity's debacle kind of ruined it. So anytime you see tilt shift, you think about that. At least I do into games, but totally makes it feel toy-like and works really well. But another game that I still feel will be a great game, 20, 30 years from now, which isn't always the case of certain things from this generation, just because of its aesthetics and style. And I kind of feel like I said, I don't usually tell people, hey, get this game to spend money, but if there's any time to buy this game, it would be now, because there's still probably some game stores out there that haven't caught up to repricing it. because it has just jumped in the last month or two.
True.
Yeah, it's because people keep making YouTube videos about it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even still, like, people have been making YouTubes about this for a while.
Or our podcast is just so
Yeah,
huge.
we're a
Yeah,
podcast.
Yeah, we're just so huge. you know?
Sorry, guys. Sorry to ruin it for you.
We're just pushing prices.
It's a mix of a lot of things: stimulus and PS3 and PSN closure, and
It's a good game.
yeah, great game. I honestly, but it checks all those boxes of being an expensive game.
Actually, this sounds kind of funny.
Moving in
when
the
we're-
future.
We're talking about physical games and everything else. Well, one of my favorite things about this game, you can play it, like when you put it in your PS3, you can literally play it off the disc, or you can install it to your hard drive, where it plays it off your hard drive. But it's a small footprint. Like, it actually feels like playing an old game because you
Yeah.
put it in and it all loads so fast.
True.
And the
Yeah.
fact that you can load it all onto your hard drive and play it directly off.
That's
I mean,
nice.
it kind of feels... I mean, it's based on a cartridge-based game, but it actually feels like playing a cartridge-based game because the footprint of it is so small.
Yep.
I thought that was just kind of a nice touch.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, that's kind of cool because
That's true.
there's not a lot of games that let you do that, you know,
Right.
Like fully install it like that. But this one does.
Yeah, I know, you're very right. It feels like they could have made a complete edition or 2 or 3 of these things. You know, it does. Yeah, with all the assets and stuff, it wouldn't have been hard to like make more of these.
No,
but
I just remember.
unfortunately,
I
it did
remember
not
when
sell well.
Yeah, when I installed it on my hard drive, I mean, it just took less than a minute or so, and boom, you got the whole thing. So, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, according to Wikipedia here, it sold 160,000 units worldwide.
Oh boy.
So
That's not a lot at all for this kind of thing. But would be something that if they were able to get it on a digital store, it would do wonderfully. But almost, the funny thing is, if you were to see this and you look at the cover and it would be on a digital store or an eShop or Nintendo,
you wouldn't really know what it is.
It
really.
well, it looks like a budget. Like if you, I'm just looking at the
Yeah,
art right now.
low end,
It looks
yeah.
like a low end budget thing that again would be hard to creep its way up, and if it wasn't for word of mouth,
I would assume it would have been like a $20 starter game. Like,
yeah, and honestly, that's why it probably didn't sell at the beginning of all this. As we always like to do, if we imagine ourselves back in the days of Blockbuster or your grocery store, rental store, you'd see this on the shelf, and then you'd want to flip it around and give the back of a box a read.
Here you go. I've got a quest across a vast 3D landscape with mysterious dungeons and save Dotnia from a legendary evil. And then I think that's French underneath that.
It is
it's
French,
got,
yeah.
It's got multiple languages here. Create your own pixelated heroes and trade them with friends. Upgrade your sword by adding length and width until it fills the screen.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all it says on the back.
Yeah. So, I think if you see the front of it, you get what the game is, but you might not get how good. Like again, it's like it's kind of got a budget title look to it. I think they could have done a little bit better with the cover and with the name. Although I don't even know what I would name this thing. Besides that, I could see why they had trouble. 3D Dot Game Heroes is kind of a stupid title,
kind of long.
but also, what would you name this? I have no idea. You got to kind of describe it. You can't have a Zelda knockoff that's kind of different and fun.
Pixel
Game.
Adventure.
Pixel Adventure.
I don't know.
That's
it
not
doesn't
bad.
really tell much. Though, either.
No.
I
That's
mean,
not bad.
Yeah, honestly though, like you think of stuff like that, but then you got to get it through copyright. And there's probably like some Flash game somewhere
you're right.
that's got the same.
No,
name.
I bet you are right. That's probably
honestly
the
that's
holdup.
probably what it was. Is that
Right.
You know, they kept going, oh, this is a good game, and then they, you go you go to apply for your copyright. No, there's already 4 things called that. you
Yep.
know.
It's like trying to get a band name. You know.
Yeah, kind of.
Ever.
It's
All the
just
good ones
it's just
are taken.
odd because sometimes if you see something, you go, why did they name it that? Well, it may just be something as dumb as, the reason the Dreamcast logo looks different in Europe.
Right.
Right.
It's just because
Someone
another
had
company
it,
had
yeah.
something that looked really similar, so they couldn't do the same thing.
Yeah. Why don't we go around for baby bottles? We'll start with Mike. I think you didn't have the longest time playing it, but
true, that's
you
true.
still got, it kind of went into your. Yeah. What did you think?
Baby modes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
0 to
No.
5.
From what I played, I would go 4 out of 5. I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's kind of up my alley with the retro feel and kind of almost like a mini game kind of feel, going out there searching the land.
Yeah. You don't have to play for a long time, but it definitely hooks you at the beginning. So 4 out of 5
Yeah.
baby bottles. What would you say there, Adam?
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair. I'm gonna split the difference because it's so arbitrary. I'm gonna say 4.25.
Yeah. Quarter.
I'm gonna say 4.25 because I liked it. I feel like 4, 8 out of 10 or whatever sells this thing short. But I do feel like, gosh, if they would have let it cook a little longer and maybe added a point where all of a sudden, let's say it turned 2D and then turned like. Since the game is so small and you feel like it was made on a budget, yet somehow feels like a premium title,
I feel like
they could have gone more into it.
They could have just done a sequel to this.
Yes, it would have been awesome.
Then it would have been awesome because I was actually looking and reading through the Wikipedia while we were talking about it. They developed the whole game in 10 months. So that kind of explains that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee if this would have baked a while longer and had a bigger development team, you'd probably have...
It would have turned into something completely different.
Yeah, 3D to 2D elements. Like, there'd just be, there'd just be more layers. But this is like a very basic but fun game.
Right.
But yeah, you could see how they could take the same formula and do a lot of cool stuff with it.
Yeah.
They just didn't.
Yeah, there's some redundancy in the dungeons and stuff that you can feel where... that it's not quite a budget title. I actually feel like wasn't this the MSRP? I think was only $39.99 when it came out.
I believe that's.
It's okay. We don't have to double check it. It's just my 80% chance. I don't think it was a full price game at the beginning, so they're kind of maybe expecting it wouldn't have blown up, which means their losses weren't as bad. But talk about a game worth coming out again on another system or making a sequel for. Great, Dad approved. Why don't we move on to our listener pick, huh, guys?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And this would be Ghoul Patrol for the SNES.
Yeah.
Developed by LucasArts and Motion Pixel.
Oh,
Nice.
man.
So this is LucasArts and published by JVC in North America and Victor Entertainment in Japan.
Yep.
And this also came out on the Virtual Console for Wii. Rest in peace.
Yes. All right.
And
Elephant in the room. Let's get it out of the way.
yes,
This game, we kind of talked about another game, one of our early video game book clubs way back in the day. A little game called Zombie Ate My Neighbors.
Yes.
Which, when I didn't hear about Ghoul Patrol and know exactly what it was, as soon as I was like, wait a second.
Ooh, this seems familiar.
Where I know it's kind of like one of those
This is eerily similar to
I know
something
it's
else.
like wait a second, this baby looks like my neighbor.
Yeah,
not
but-
me. It's like something's afoot.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit ashamed that I didn't know. When I started playing it, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, this is just like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And I was like, this game ripped off Zombies Ate My Neighbors, not realizing that it's actually just the sequel to Zombies
Yes,
Ate
the
My
kind of
Neighbors.
unofficial sequel. I don't even know the official.
I guess it's the official sequel. I mean, it's made by LucasArts, which also did Zombies Ate My Neighbors. But it's funny that they sort of rebranded it completely.
Right.
And
I
even,
wonder if the title wasn't super popular at the time.
maybe I don't know. But the other funny thing is too, even the front box. This has a big JVC logo on the publisher, and Zombies Ate My Neighbors has a Lucasfilm logo. I'm pretty sure. So you wouldn't even know it was the same publisher.
Right. Sure.
The artwork doesn't look the same. I mean, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, of course, has a very unique cover on it with that like psychedelic, sort of thing. So I don't get the continuity issues with it, but
and the third is Grabbed by the Ghoulies, right? That's the other thing I was just thinking about when I saw this. It's like, well, what's the and that obviously like Xbox game 3D, completely kind of different game, but it does make me think that this game was like targeted to like maybe not give off a mature vibe, because I will say this, when I was a kid, I never played Zombie Ate My Neighbors. And I never even flipped over the box, because when I saw it, it was zombie eating neighbors, and I was like young at the time. This sounds stupid. I'm like, but I remember thinking this is a mature game that I wouldn't be into. And I never played it as a kid, and I would have loved Zombie Ate My Neighbors as a kid.
Yeah,
but this cover and this name, again, if I would have seen it,
I have the exact same experience. There are certain things I can remember about like seeing games in clearance sections, and things when I was a kid, and I remember seeing a pile of Zombies Ate My Neighbors in like Walmart marked down.
So we maybe answered our own question.
And I remember having the same thought, because the two games they had marked down and they had numerous copies of was Raid and Trad, which is a overhead vertical shooter, and then Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And I remember looking at the cover and just being like, "What is this even about?" I
played it at a friend's house.
Yeah, and I remember just thinking, I don't get it.
Super Nintendo,
and I got Raiden instead. So I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this game. Sorry.
Sure. So this game is, like I said, it came out 94 in North America and Europe, and actually came out in Japan a year later after us. and this thing has gotten pretty darn expensive. A loose copy will run you over $100. So price chart
Really?
right now has it at $111.
I have.
And but it's gone up, in the last year or two. It looks
Yeah.
like, and a complete copy will run you $250-$300. So it's not cheap. It's definitely more than Zombies Ate My Neighbors. But, as far as the game itself goes, it's a lot of the same as Zombies Ate My Neighbors, if that makes sense. I mean, you're running around, you're avoiding obstacles, you're shooting stuff, you're trying to save your neighbors essentially, and then you move on to the next level. And I think there's something like 50 levels in this. I don't know how you guys felt about it. I mean, the art style's cool. I like the gimmicks and the music and the way it sounds and feels. The controls are a little slippery, just like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and you kind of have to get used to that. And really, the whole thing about the game is just memorizing where everything is and how you navigate through and how you avoid all the stuff, how you get to the end. But for whatever reason, in this particular game, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is kind of the same way too. There's just a lot of stuff going on screen at the same time,
Right.
And but at this one, the projectiles I found annoyingly difficult to avoid. If that makes sense.
Tougher than the other.
Yeah, a little bit tougher. Even if you know kind of what to anticipate or what's going on, right off the bat when you start the game, there's books flying off a shelf at you, and they're kind of difficult to. And I don't mean difficult in a way that, like, okay, it's difficult, but I can learn this and I can really get good at it. Like, I never felt like I got good at this game at all. So from the, being frustrated perspective, I was more frustrated playing this, I suppose, than I was with Zombies Ate My Neighbors. But that being said, it's a serviceable game. It's decent, but I actually like the first one better.
Right.
And I guess that's probably the biggest thing I can say about it is, it's a sequel. And I still think the first one was better than it. So, that's not to say it's bad if you play it by yourself. But if you're going to play this game, I would just play Zombies Ate My Neighbors,
Right.
which is cheaper.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in kind of the same boat as you. I kind of like the original a little bit better, but I mean, this one did have, I think, slightly more variety in kind of the different items and stuff that are in the game. I think. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I can always only get to a certain point in 4 or 5 levels or something like that, and then it just almost gets impossible for me. Yeah. This one kind of opens it up a little bit. Yeah. Makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, so honestly, out of all the video game book clubs, this is one I played the least of, and I had some time, and I kind of fell off of it. And part of it was there was always something missing with this game that, I feel like if I didn't play Zombie Ate My Neighbors for the first time, whenever we did that 2 years ago, I wouldn't have noticed it as much. But then when I went back and played them both, I realized, Ghoul Patrol, felt like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and it felt like a sequel, but it almost felt like exactly what we dealt with in 3D dot game Heroes, except done poorly, where it was let's copy this format, but not completely copy it. And the development was kind of mixed. It was developed in a couple different studios, not the same way as the first. And then they kind of intentionally made the art style a little more hip or a little more Tood-like with Sonic, that kind of thing, where it wasn't as the first one was campy, kind of Pleasantville, meets kind of I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but it's just kind of more, Back to the Future, where it's this is the past, this is history. It still looks like a movie, but then it's still grounded in reality and kind of, cartoony. And this one was no, we're going to have more accurate monsters in this one, but it obviously still has this kind of aesthetic of the original. So it kind of feels like this is another one where the third game was probably going to be really cool when they kind of figured itself out. But if I would have played this and Zombie Ate My Neighbors didn't exist, I would have been all about it. I think just Zombie Ate My Neighbors, even though maybe it's not technically as an impressive a game as this one, and it's more common and more people played it, I could see why this one kind of fell in the background, because it's not necessarily that much better, but it's a game that, if you're going to start playing it, this kind of reminds me of Zombie Ate My Neighbors. That was kind of my general feel of it. I could see how, if I would have played it as a kid, it's a good video game book club pick. It's a great game, especially if you randomly have it, or if you had, but if you have a choice to, or picking it up, $150 game at this point. Yeah. I'd say if you haven't played Zombie Ate My Neighbors, go ahead and play that one. unless you find this game for cheap. It's a good game. Just did not grab me. Felt a little redundant. Again, my personal opinion. Just kind of my thought between the two. Kind of like the difference between here's a good maybe it's not an example. This is gonna. It's kind of like The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, and then The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Right?
I didn't even see the Tom Cruise one.
Yeah. So it's so The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. Yeah, there's a lot wrong with that movie,
liked it
but no,
originally when it came out. I'm sure watching it now it'd be bad.
But it's campy and not serious.
Right.
Like the Brendan Fraser Mummy knows that it's not serious.
Right, and it's also dealing with like mummies, which is crazy. But then when you get like, no, we're gonna Suicide Squad this thing and make people invested in it, and it's gonna be dramatic. It's like at the end of the day, the movie's called The Mummy. This is what you did when you were a kid and you had toilet paper. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think campy is better
Yeah.
for a game like this. That's what I'm getting at. Baby Bottles, Mike, what you got?
I'm going to go with 3.5.
We didn't forget the back of the box. We're doing it after. We're just surprising you people. Go,
Yeah.
3.5?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
going to go 3.5.
All right. I'm going to skip ahead, go ahead of Adam. I'm going to say 3. I know, I'm mixing. I'm
jumped right in front of
I'm
him.
going to keep mixing things up just to keep it
You're
spicy.
that kid that cut the line, right?
Cut the line.
Like,
only
to the drinking fountain and stuff
Drinking
like that.
fountain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
School back in school. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Put his whole mouth around the
Tap you on the
yeah.
shoulder.
drinking
Yep.
thing.
It's my
Yeah,
turn.
I was a fan. Were you guys step stool kids, or would you rather kind of lean up?
Lean
what was
up.
Your? Yeah, I
Oh,
was a lean
yeah.
up. I don't want to
No.
use that step stool.
No.
No. What am I?
No, I'll just be uncomfortable.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say a 3. Baby Bottles out of 5. Good game, serviceable game, great. Didn't hold enough. You need the nostalgia factor, I think, to truly enjoy it. Which again, that's why I talked up Binary Domain last time we did that. If you played it out of the blue and you're not into it, you'd think it's a 3 out of 5 game too, and you'd be wrong. Just kidding. All right, go ahead.
I'm also going to give it a 3.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
we're
what I
being
was gonna
consistent here. I long for the game when it's like 1 out of 5, 5 out of 5. We're being pretty consistent here. Safe and serviceable game. This is. What's the back of the box say there, Adam?
All right, it says Ghoul Patrol to the rescue. The main attractions at the library's Goblin exhibit have come to life as the Ghoul Patrol go back in time and despook an encyclopedic zombified historical. God, I can't even read this. An encyclopedia of zombified historic dudes, vaporize garbage, can ghost, and ninja spirits. Rescue bug-eyed librarians and wigged-out pirates. Dodge flying books and adolescent eating plants.
It's like wants to be R.L. Stein.
Yeah. And ultimately put the beastly spirit back in the history books. And then here's the bullet points. 2-player cooperative mode lets you team up for a double dose of ghost-busting adventure. A cemetery full of zombies, including skeletal knights, zombified samurais, and possessed automobiles. A potent potpourri of power-ups to collect, including rubber chickens and magic potions. Cool weapons to use, from plasma rifles to suction cup arrows. It's a pretty good back of the box, actually. And then it's got the little cutouts with the pictures. Excellent graphics and animation in every ghost and goblin. 15 levels take you from the big city to the medieval times to an actual spirit world. Team up with a friend and
Not just a backyard. I get it.
yeah, Ghoul Patrol with 2-player cooperative play. These bosses are pretty spooky. You'll need all the plasma in your cannon for this guy.
Oh man.
Yep. So there's your back of the box.
It's like walking through one of those haunted houses with your kids, and
It's a pretty good back of the box.
Yeah.
The back of the box is making me want to revise my score upward.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Too late. It's set in stone.
Not a bad game. By any stretch. It's good. If you like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, you'll like this, and vice versa.
Great.
Yep.
All right. Well, those are our video game book club picks, and we're ready for our new video game book club picks for next episode. Should we save it for the end, or should we put it in now?
Well, let's do them now.
Okay. All right. Video game book club pick. It's my turn. I'm the dad. PS3. Not a fan of this system. If you're a long-time listener, not a fan of the old PS3.
Yeah, it's not like you don't have the full North American catalog.
Hey, that's kind of scary to say. It's kind of like saying like I collect plates of the United States or something like that. You know, people will judge
Commemorative
me.
plates.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a special account
When
with
are we-
Danbury Mint.
Dude, Danbury Mint, don't dog that. They've got some good stuff. When are we going to get be the age when we start putting plates on our walls instead of in our cabinets?
Never. I think we're going to be the
is that a
generation
thing?
of putting games on our walls.
I don't
well,
know.
already there.
Yeah.
There's a certain age where you put a plate on a wall. I just wonder when that's going to be. It's going to happen. It's inevitable.
There's an age too where you put like a talking bass on your wall as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Kind of wondering when that happens.
Yeah. The quality.
Something will make me laugh.
You've never been to a thrift store. I think every thrift store has to have at least one Billy Bass. That doesn't
Yeah.
quite work, but you push it and it kind of slowly moves.
Right.
And, he's
And
like,
then-
and he like doesn't talk full speed. He's like,
Yeah.
"Wah, wah, wah, wah." Yeah.
Help me.
Kill me.
My batteries are getting corroded.
Please kill me.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly what he's thinking.
The video game book club pick. From that, I was going to do the listener pick, but no, I want to jump ahead. All right, I have chosen, not in the top 15%, you guys better make sure you play it, is Puppeteer for the PS3.
It's a very good pick. This is a great game.
This is a Sony
Yeah.
published game. You probably have heard of it. Maybe you haven't.
I haven't. So.
Yeah. So Puppeteer is actually kind of from the minds of those people who did the Little Big Planet, I believe. Yeah.
if you
I'm
like
sure.
British storytelling,
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I mean, we shouldn't undersell it. It is a 3D and 2D environment. It's got a great little style. I think way better a game than Little Big Planet. A lot of people who've played it also agree. It also is a title that can be played in 3D. I know 3D has gone the way of not many people can watch or play a 3D title, but I had a 3D projector, and when I played this a few years ago with 3D glasses and everything, probably one of the best 3D gaming experience I ever had. And I used to like go through and play like a bunch. Like Drake's Uncharted, you can play in 3D. If you look at the logo on PS3, there's a lot.
God of War, which one? 3?
Yeah, God of War 3. There's a ton of PS3 games that play in 3D. I will say this one, because it's got like a pop-out, cutout diorama feel, it's a ton of fun to play. And the protagonist is pretty fun, and it's got a cool like gaming like hook and thing that you can do. Of course, we're going to talk about next time.
I want to play this in 3D now. I haven't.
Is there a way you can play it in 3D?
Yeah, I have an LG that has passive 3D.
Oh.
And I play God of War in 3D on PS3, and it was great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You know? So it's the one that you don't have to have. Mine's the one where you just wear the polarized glasses.
Oh, you don't need the...
Yeah, you don't have to have the shutter glasses.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. You should definitely play this in 3D. It is great, especially when you see the first like boss or whatever. Because a lot of times the 3Ds, you're only limited to the size of your screen. And this one, because it has the depth in the screen. Anyway, it looks great. And the whole point of it is you're an audience watching this because the sides are always a curtain. So it's kind of like you're watching a play. But anyway, we'll get... No, I'm spoiling it. I'm sorry. Puppeteer for the PS3 is the video game dad pick. And our video game listener pick, I need to go back to see who the name was. Whoops. I'll say the game and then I'll say who it was. A long-time listener should get excited. I don't have a name next to it. Sorry, you're going to have to email us. Whoops. But in our randomizer, our ball cage ran around, and surprisingly enough, the ball cage picked another ball. I can say it as long as the context is what I'm about to say, Ball Blazer. For the PS1 is our video game book club pick from our listener. And I forget who. I'm sorry, I don't have your name down. You sent us an email.
The Ball Blazer.
You're gonna, let us know. Ball Blazer for PS1. I actually don't even know the genre. I own this game because I remember when it was submitted as a book club pick, I found it at like vintage stock for like $5. Mm-hmm. So I own Ball Blazer already, so I don't have to buy it, and I'm pretty sure it's not expensive. Yeah.
Isn't Ball Blazer a wet or dry shaving apparatus?
It is also, yeah. You might already have a Ball Blazer in your shower.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
You haven't? Oh, okay. Well, we know. Well, we know that Michael's forest is in full bloom.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm just familiar with my favorite
right.
adult actor, Ball Blazer.
The Ball Blazer.
Yeah, the other way.
All right. Well, either way, for this, Ball Blazer for PS1 is our video game listener pick, and Puppeteer, definitely rated E for everyone.
Yeah, it sounds like we picked a kids game and an X-rated game at the same time.
Little do you know, we'll find out on our next episode.
Yeah.
Our glorious 60th. But those are our video game picks for next episode.
Goonies never say die!
So, let's talk about something that's a little sad, guys.
Aww.
The PlayStation Network, in terms of the PS3, the PS Vita, and the PSP, 3 legacy systems, that, a lot of people aren't playing anymore. We knew this day would come, but they are closing down the store. So, and soon, in a couple months, right? July?
And July 2nd for PS3 and PSP.
Yes.
And then August 27th, I believe, for the Vita.
Late August for the Vita. So what does this mean? Short story is digital purchases, which became hot during this time, because not so much because you didn't have the bandwidth, things like that. And I have quite a bit of digital purchases back then. There's a lot of games that you will not be able to ever play again or purchase. And part of this is not only digital-only games, the ability to buy PS1 games. So it's kind of the whole system availability for, like, PS3, you can download PS2 games. You can download PS1 games. You're not going to be able to do that
lots
anymore.
of them, yeah.
And lots of them, yeah. And they're kind of hard to find, and the PS3 store is hard to navigate compared to PS4. So anything you could find on the PS4, you're still safe for now. But this was a fear, and this is why the people that only like the retro, because we have some listeners that only like us talking about modern stuff, only retro, and then a mix, and we're a mix. We're equal opportunists when it comes to that. The people, the card, like, I can't wait for some of the podcasts I don't really listen to, but some of the podcasts that only like the retro stuff to start talking about this, about saying, like, this is why we always said new games stink and we only, get off my lawn, newer systems.
Yeah.
I mean, we all knew this was coming. It's just kind of a sad day and kind of sad, a few months notice. I guess that's what we would expect. But we wanted to talk a little bit about, before we get Negative Nancy, about some titles that we would recommend to pick up while you still can, which means you can, hook up your old titles and essentially play these things you'd like to think for forever. And supposedly Sony's also saying you can still download things you've purchased.
Yeah, it's just you won't be able to go into the store to get them.
Yes, but again, who knows how long that'll happen, because you still have to do this through servers, through something else. Like if Nintendo did this, there's no way that would still be going, right? That's why they focus on repurchasing things. But there's so many games out there that it's not worth making them available in any other way. So the preservation for this is difficult. And PlayStation 3 particularly, there's a specific battery, and I'm not nerdy enough to know this, but nerdy enough to kind of repeat it. There's also an issue with, if your PS3 internal battery that has to link up with PSN, you can't really even play these digital titles again if that goes bad. Have you heard this?
Oh, I have not heard that.
Yeah, so there's a battery that actually links up with Sony that'll make it so you can't ever, like, play these, and it's regardless of internet access. So, in the future, is there going to be a workaround for it? 20 years from now, is there going to be basically like an analog version of the PS3, Probably, hopefully, you'd think so. But actually, with the complexity of the hardware, this is going to limit some things and make it difficult. Without getting too negative Nancy about it, the nitty-gritty of, hey, what's something you should download now? Figured we'd each pick out a couple games. I'll start with something that, like, reminds me of PSN. One of the earlier PSN titles I got, it was a little game called Echo Chrome. Look it up maybe when you're searching things. Right now there's a lot of YouTube videos out there of, like, top 50 things you could buy and get, and you should get before the PSN closure. Definitely check those out if you really want to look at this. But also keep in mind, maybe don't set your calendar to do this the last day or the day before, because the servers are probably going to be really slow. I would say if you're going to go and buy a PSN card and download some things, it's probably best not to do it right now when everybody's doing it. It's probably best to do 3 weeks or so before. And who knows, though, maybe they'll have sales or not have sales. I don't know if they still kind of have sales for these things. But sad day, because there's a lot of functionality, especially with PS Vita. You could play PS1 games and things like that, and you can play especially your Vita TV. But Echochrome is a game I would recommend to check out. It's not that expensive, and it's a fun title. What do you got there, Adam?
This is a game that I downloaded and played, and it's sort of a series of. I think maybe this was part of a series with the Pac-Man DX, but there's a game called Galaga Legends Dx, and it's Galaga, but it's like psychedelic. It's modern. It's updated. There's like a gazillion ships. It's all like techno, give you a seizure, while you're watching it kind of game. It's like really high paced, but it's actually fairly easy to progress in the game. And of course, it's a score attack kind of thing. It's a beat the level plus a score attack, but it's almost as much about getting the score as it is about everything else. But it's a ton of fun, especially in short bursts, and it's the kind of game you can play 5 minutes at a time and really get a lot out of it. So Galaga Legends DX is sort of the one that I would go to, and if you played any of the Pac-Man DX games, where they updated Pac-Man and made it new and psychedelic and different, and updated it and all that kind of stuff. It's basically kind of like that.
Cool.
It's just very, very accessible, and it's a lot of fun.
Wow. So one you should pick up. What about you there, Mike?
Nice.
What do you got?
I only had a few that I had downloaded, but one that's kind of a classic is the Resident Evil Chronicles HD collection.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of good overview of the first couple games, or second and third, I want to say.
Yeah.
And the Resident Evil games. So.
Yeah, and pro tip too, what's nice is some of these titles you can actually buy in disc form in other regions, and since the PS3 is region free, that is one game that's available in Japan that you can play in English. And this is same for another game called Pain, which Pain is like a silly, stupid game where you slingshot yourself into things, and it's kind of like a physics based. But I love this back when my niece was really little, and we loved this title, and I so want to turn it on to have my son like look at it, because it's really funny. You basically like launch yourself and try to get points by like creating damage, and it's a silly, kooky game, but a game that in this region at least you have to download. And the servers have been, some of these titles, like the servers don't work anyway, but Pain is another one. Of course, shout out to like one of my favorite games ever, Beyond Good and Evil HD does not have a physical release. I thought maybe they'd make a physical in Wii U, but that's the best way to play that game with the HD on a modern TV would be Beyond Good and Evil HD. And they Quest for Booty is another one, but that's also a disc based in another so always check if some of these things are available in other regions, because the PS3 is region free. Pro tip 2, if you're going to your local game store, the Best of PSN Network was a disc that had, like, I believe Fat Princess, Tokyo Jungle, another couple games. I think it had 4 or 5 games, including Sound Shapes.
Yeah, Sound Shapes is awesome.
That is a disc that's forever been $14 and now is like shooting up like crazy. I think I saw an eBay auction sell for over $200.
Yeah, and I know Sound Shapes is available as a physical, but I will echo that that is a great one to download, especially if you have kids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my kids love that game.
Yeah, you're saying so,
it's, it's like musical, and you play it. And it's a side-scrolling platformer, but you collect beats, and the music gets more complex as you collect different beats. And,
nice.
and my kids love play. They like it when I play it. They like playing it themselves. So
there you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Any more? We could just kind of throw them out at this point.
Yeah,
House
maybe
of the Dead
House
4.
of the Dead 4. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite arcade games. So
yeah, and PS1 games too. Just too many to rattle off, but like Castlevania, Klonoa. Those games are actually very expensive, and in order to play them like legitimately on PSN and get them, I believe all the PS1 games are like either $3.99, $4.95, $5.99 to download. And they play wonderfully, on your good big size TV. So check those out. I will say they're kind of hard to find. So if you're going on PS3 and you're going through the store to try to find PS1 titles or the PSP or the PS Vita for that matter, if you search under Classic or PS1 by spelling out the ONE, otherwise the titles are really hidden and you'll have to kind of search them by game, and they're not organized really well. It's kind of going back to the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah.
You kind of have to know some stuff in order to find your books.
Yeah, there's one more I want to mention too, though.
Go for it.
R-type dimensions.
Oh, okay.
So if you like old super hard, make you hate yourself side-scrolling shooters like R-type,
Yeah.
R-type dimensions. It's got the old and the new.
Nice. One that's just new is Shatter, but it is a left to right horizontal. Is that left to right? Yes, it is.
Side scrolling?
Horizontal shooter.
Okay.
Shatter's really cool. It's kind of like a give and take magnetic effect. It's if you remember Resogun for PS4, Shatter's kind of the PS3 version of that kind of cool game.
Yeah, it is a good game. I haven't played it in a long time.
Yeah, I
It's
kind
good.
of haven't either. I probably haven't played since it came out, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. But I remember it's great, and I still have it downloaded. So, but the thing is, who knows how long you can download them? And we should kind of segue into what we were talking about earlier. Is this, you can download the titles that you've already purchased, but eventually that's got an expiration date too, which
Yeah,
is the whole issue
Mm-hmm.
with digital stuff, which is why getting stuff on disc, especially PS3 before PS4 when you're ripping the stuff off the disc anyway, why it's so important. What were you going to say, Adam?
I mean, this has kind of influenced a little bit of the way I collect now, at least as far as modern stuff goes, because I have very much downscaled collecting PS4 stuff unless I'm pretty sure that everything is either mostly on the disc or on the disc.
Right.
So when, like Capcom releases,
Yeah, give some examples.
for instance, I bought the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, a while back, and, and you put it in, and then it's like, please wait while we download 10 gigs worth of data, so that you can play it. And it's like, so basically, I just bought a disc that gives me the download.
Right.
And so there are a lot of games for the modern systems that are like that, where you put them in, and then basically that most of the game, or even the entire game, has to download. And it takes a little bit of effort, but it's worth a quick internet search when you're going to spend $50 or $60 on a game.
Yeah.
To find out if you're just basically downloading or if you're buying a download code versus actually buying a real, finished product.
Yeah.
And I mean, this becomes more of an issue with more complicated games, obviously. I mean, Grand Theft Autos and those kinds of things, which are constantly being updated. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but for most games, I kind of like the idea of being able to have the actual physical thing. So I almost exclusively collect Switch now, and then a very small number of PS4 games that I know. I mean, like limited run release stuff.
Right.
I collect spaceship shooters on PS4 and some other things. So for modern systems, like I have a Series X in the house, and that's my main modern system right now is the Series X. But I haven't bought any physical games for it at all. I just do Game Pass, and I just download, and it's all just connected to the TV in the house.
Yeah.
And that way I don't have to mess around with the games. The kids can boot it up and play it because they don't care. And but I like I said, on PS4 in particular now, and you even have to be careful on Switch too, because there's some games that are still download, or Switch actually sells empty boxes with download codes in them.
Luckily, if you know what to look for, they are marked.
They are
so they
marked,
have this
correct.
funny little. It's not an asterisk. It's like
It's
a little
like a blue label. That
yeah,
goes
and it's a
across,
little
yeah.
globe thing too, where it says like download. So look out for a label. I guess a way to tell what it looks like is if you go to LA Noire. LA Noire has this symbol. There's Mega Man's have this symbol too,
Yeah.
so you know what to look out for. Also, some of the Resident Evils. So again, if you want to know what we're talking about, find those Switch titles and you'll see the cover.
And it's weird because there's compilations that you'll buy for Switch, like the Mega Man collections, where like half the games will be on the cartridge. And these are small games. It's not like they couldn't fit them all on the cartridge, but half of them will be on the cartridge, but the other half will be download.
Yeah.
Right.
Capcom, all the Capcom compilations, for whatever reason, they decided that was the way to do it. Was to put part of them on the cartridge and make part of them download.
Since
But-
you're the Switch expert, this might be a dumb question. Are there any Switch games that, like old school, like Sega CD, have two cartridges, like two discs? Are there any like that have two carts that fix this?
No, you mean two versions of the same game?
No. Two
or-
carts inside the case,
Like
kind of like an
install,
old school like
not,
Saturn
not
game.
in any that I've ever heard of. Or
Okay.
opened.
I just thought
I'm not
that'd
gonna
be
say,
silly.
Yeah, I'm not going to say such a thing does not exist, but
Not that you know
really
of.
big Switch games is usually around 50 gig or so. But I mean, you're talking like Breath of the Wild or these kinds of things. So
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
And I don't even know what the overall numbers are, but Switch games typically. I mean, I can't think of anything that's as big as like the download of, like Grand Theft Auto 5 and then all of its attachments and everything, where it's like 140 gigs or something.
Right.
Yeah, the games are generally smaller, and they're for the most part all on the cartridges. And it's not to say that there's not updates and things that download on your systems, but by and large, with the entire catalog, you put the cartridge in. At most, you download a patch for a couple of minutes, and then you're good to go.
And I think it helps being that quasi portable system. They know that like you're not sitting there with your TV and stuff. They kind of know like some people will pop this in for the first time on a bus or on something else where they need it to work quickly. That's why LA Noire and those things that like there's not many of them out there. I quickly want to say to jump on your point that you made earlier, Adam, to help our listeners out. There's a great YouTube channel. I don't think we've ever shouted out before, but I'm only thinking to do this because I think I've shared this with you, Adam, and it's a kind of a humble guy. It's called N Game Arts, and N meaning like the letter N /game/arts. It's an interest. Maybe there's a play on words, but I don't think he has a lot of subscribers, and his background is green, which is kind of different. It's funny, when we wanted our thing, we wanted to do green initially just to be different. But anyway, it's called Endgame Arts. It's a single guy doing this channel, and he basically like runs down this exact issue with, he buys games where there's not much data on like what's on the disc, what's a download, how many firmware updates are there, that kind of thing, and he looks at and buys specific kind of like games that are in other regions, or for example like Spyro Trilogy. He was one of the first to discover that like only the first game is on the disc and the other two you have to download, which is kind of ridiculous, and you need an internet connection, because PS4 you always have that initial download because it's ripping it off the disc. But in this one, you need an internet connection in order to play Spyro. That being said, 5 months after Spyro Trilogy came out for the PS4, they released a second disc that has all three of them on the disc. So if you have this in your collection, you should see, because it'll say in the bottom corner requires download, but on the other discs, they're stamped slightly differently. And the cool thing is you don't have to listen to what I'm saying to write it down. You can go to his channel, and he basically says what the differences are. And other times where like it doesn't overtly say on the game like, hey, you have to download this, it's not on the disc, he basically kind of discovers it, sees what it's compatible for. But a really cool channel that you should definitely subscribe to, or go to him and like search through to see like, oh gosh, I had no idea this disc is great because it has everything on it. And he'll point things out like where sometimes the DLC is a download or on the disc, but you don't have to put in a code. It's all very confusing, but if you are like thinking, oh, well, there's no download code, you're fine. Well, no, it still needs to go on the internet to get it. So he prides himself on like this exact problem that we have. So shouting that out to kind of help you along with the same issue that we have, and I've utilized that channel a lot. So if you do, give him a shout out and say, hey, heard this on the Video Game Dads or something. But
and I don't mean to give the impression that Switch doesn't have some of the same issues, because it does. It's just not as bad as the other consoles. And part of the reason, because I have my only complete collection is the Wii U, and but part of the thing that's cool about Wii U, one of the few things I guess maybe that's cool about the Wii U,
come on,
is that it's the last system that plays the games off the disc.
Right.
It's the last system made that actually you put the disc in, the disc has the game on it, and that's the game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't install it on a hard drive, doesn't do anything else with it, but it's the last system that does that.
And the only system where the CDs feel like a well-worn leather glove on the corner.
They do. The CDs, it's weird because people who haven't handled Wii U discs don't know this.
They don't know it.
But they're beveled. They're like polished and beveled.
It's like Ghost. Imagine if you're churning it.
They're the best feeling DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever they are.
Yeah.
No, it's not a Blu-ray for
it's
sure.
a DVD. But
Yeah.
they feel incredible. They're
Yeah.
soft.
Yeah. So what we're saying specifically, and you won't, you pick up any CD, Dreamcast, PS2, the corners, they don't feel sharp like you're not going to cut yourself. But
They're-
like
they're
literally,
angled.
yeah, if you feel the outside edge of a Wii U disc, it's kind of like rubbing styrofoam together, or what's like oddly satisfying, like putting your hand in foam, or like what's the thing? It's like it feels
Silly
good.
putty? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, no, I don't know. Like the whole oddly satisfying, like opening Velcro. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, check it out if you think we're crazy.
We may be.
We may be. Yeah, I don't know where. I don't know where it's going with that. I was going to be like,
They do. Wii U just feel awesome though. They're
yeah,
like the best.
yeah. Go to your video game store if you don't own any,
Yeah.
and just say, "Can I feel your Wii U discs, sir?"
Yeah, excuse me. Please
Yeah.
turn your head.
Let me see and watch. It's like describing something, and it's somehow you remember it. Now I'm like talking it up, and next time I feel the Wii U, I was like, "That's not that good. It's maybe okay." I have to tell you guys real quick. So my wife, I love. The best thing is when you have a spouse that continues to surprise you, right? Mm-hmm. Where you just realize something like, wait, what? Because she's always surprised when I haven't seen this rom-com, and I'm like, it's because I'm a boy or something. Like, she's like, you haven't seen every Sandra Bullock rom-com, like with 2 weeks notice, all these stuff. Like, no, I didn't watch it 10 times in college like you did. Just like you didn't play all these video games. Well, she... War Games she never saw, and we watched that, and we loved
classic.
it. You're right. Well, another one that I thought was good, and I talked up, and I even bought on DVD because for some reason I couldn't find this movie anywhere. Yet I thought it was a highly touted movie. And stop me if I talked about this in the last pod. I don't think I did. Weird Science.
Oh yeah, man! I love that movie.
Okay.
I actually rewatched it just in the last few months.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
that's funny you're bringing it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that'll be interesting to get your take
it's
because
so dumb.
but
Yeah, I remember not liking it as a kid for
See,
some reason.
okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I like it more now than I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was just saying I watched it recently and I thought it was fine, it was okay. But like when I was a kid, I don't know why I wasn't into
well,
it.
that's interesting. So now I know we all have 3 different flavors of it. I will tell you, I talked this thing up, and I thought it was up there with like, I'll fill in another 80s movie, like Coming to America, or like a whole something where it's like it's got great nostalgia. Well, because I remember as a kid the whole idea, the premise of the 2 teenagers that somehow with their computer create a woman or their wildest dreams, like that wouldn't fly today.
Yeah.
But Weird Science, I rewatched it with my wife, and the whole time I was like, I'm kind of sorry we rewatched it. I'm glad you liked it. But like, while
No,
I
it's so bad. I mean,
but it's pretty bad. Like, of course, the whole I forgot like what my wife instantly pointed out was the age of these kids.
Oh yeah, they're like 14 maybe.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
14, and the whole point and all they're talking about is trying to get with this lady they made in the computer. And well, let's shout out to this. Like, oh gosh, what was her name? She's great. The 80s, probably biggest crush in the 80s. The actual Weird Science lady.
Oh, I don't know what her name is.
She was she was married to Steven Seagal at one point. And
Oh,
I thought,
really?
oh my! And she has like kids with Steven Seagal.
Of course she
Mistake.
was.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah,
of
80s.
course she was,
He
yeah.
at his peak, he's like, "Yep, I want her," and they were in movies together. But she's actually the best part of the movie. She was just she was a model before this, and one of her only main acting gigs. She was definitely the best actress in the whole movie.
Bill
but like,
Paxton's in it too, though.
Bill
Yeah.
Paxton's in it, but
Yeah.
the movie not only wouldn't fly today, I realized why it is not on, like, I couldn't find it on Netflix. I couldn't find it on anything until I got on my front Plex server because it is not PC, kids. Besides the whole
absolutely not.
underage guys making the computer and how silly and goofy it is and how it makes no sense. At one point, she goes to the 80s guy, the blonde 80s guy who's in 16 Candles.
Oh yeah. What is his name?
And he was in
Michael Anthony Hall.
Yeah, Michael Anthony Hall,
yeah.
which he was losing it. He was about at his peak at that point. But the script is so silly. At one point, she goes up to his parents, and because they're like, "No, you can't hang out with this lady. You're not going to go to a party with her. She looks like she's gonna."
He
she's
erases
too
the
adult.
memories. Yeah.
Well, he erases the memories, but also she like holds a gun up
Yeah.
to his parents. Is like, if you do anything, I'm going to shoot you. And I'm like, whoa, this took a turn. And then also, there's a part where they go to a bar, and he's 14 and he drinks and he gets drunk, and then he also starts talking kind of like the crows from Dumbo. and I'm just like, oh, this is so it you can't like delist these things, right? Even though like I know Disney tried to do that with some of their stuff. It's just kind of like, you want your kid to see it for the history or not? But like even like Weird Science, like I don't know.
I was actually just looking because I was thinking it was a John Hughes movie, and it is.
Yeah, which is odd because I think Breakfast Club holds up.
Yeah, John Hughes, Breakfast Club, Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love both those movies, but Weird Science just is odd, super odd movie. It's got some funny parts and like the big broad strokes, but like when you watch it in the script,
No,
and how it drags
there's only
on,
like 1 or 2 years that movie could have came out, and it is exactly its time.
that time. Yeah. Teenage boy fantasy, that's for sure. Another movie I saw that was just as bad or worse that I was looking forward to, and I realized it was like a Hulu exclusive. I really liked the Eddie Murphy movie back in the day, Coming to America.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Well, they made Coming to America 2.
I heard. I didn't see that one though.
I can tell you now, you're not missing anything.
Yeah, it looked bad. It looked bad from the previous.
It is really bad. The low budget, the script, the whole idea. There's weird parts, and I watched
I heard
it pretty.
It kind of played off the first one a lot.
It did play off the original, but also like not in a good way. Like, it was about as bad of a movie as I've seen in a long time. It was bad. I think like if you like Coming to America, you should watch it because it makes your appreciation for the original that much more. Right. They basically try to go through the original like tropes and things, and even like tried to change some of the history of parts of it.
Did Samuel L. Jackson have a cameo?
That's a good question. I kind of forget.
He would have been a perfect person to bring back.
No, but they brought back just about everybody, and somehow just about everybody's still alive. There was, even as like his wife and stuff, it was kind of cool to see everybody again.
Yeah.
But I felt like it would have been better to see them in a Zoom call than that movie.
Good to see Arsenio get some work.
Yeah, I know. And Arsenio does the same thing where he dresses up as other people, and they do the whole barber scene again.
Yeah, I heard they kind of did a lot of the. Just a revamped old movie, kind of.
It is, but then without any of it being funny, kind of like the newer Eddie Murphy stuff. Right. But yeah, that part wasn't so great. So I guess I was going to the whole like if games are like how you remembered them, that's some are better than others.
Totally.
One thing I can say, we didn't. I don't know if we talked about like kind of. New things that we've done. Finally ever, my wife and I and my kids, we took a vacation.
Yay.
I know. And in the context of what we just went through, and it's 2021, that's a huge deal. And my son is 4 and he's never been really on a vacation ever. And then daughter's, 15, 16 months. We went to Omaha, not a big drive.
Nice.
And we saw the zoo. We took my niece as well, got in the car. It was fun to do something different.
Had you been to that zoo before?
I hadn't. I hadn't been to that zoo. We went to a children's museum. But something I've done that I know Adam has done, which this won't be a surprise to him, and I'm sure maybe you've done. So it was the first time ever taking a vacation with kids. I'll say it again. It was the first time taking a vacation with kids.
It's different, isn't it?
It is different, and let's just get to it.
It's not that much fun.
It's not that much fun. It's fun for the kids. It's fun that you're doing something. But what we realized when we got there is normally when you go on vacation and you travel and you get someplace, you do that vacation thing of take all your stuff out and just kind of sit around or take a nap or plan something. But we have kids.
Yeah.
And so the routine of the kids you still have to follow, and we are pretty strict with our routines and with eating time and dinner time and nap time, and like even when we're going to the zoo, we're like, it's 1:00, we gotta go. The day was great, we still had more stuff to see, but we're getting close to nap time.
Sure.
And I mean, expected, but it was just, I don't know, kind of a funny thing to say, but worth saying on a Video Game Dads podcast. Like, it was still a lot of fun, and I'm glad we went. And the road trip part was neat, and just the adventure of going. I mean, I won't get into those details.
That rainforest they have in the Omaha Zoo. Did you go inside? Yes. Where they have like a bubble and they have like bats on the ceiling, and
yes,
like, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. That and the Desert Dome.
Yeah.
So going to Omaha,
really cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And Oh, I guess I'll share this story.
I like it better than our Kansas City Zoo. It's just more compact.
Oh,
and
agreed.
with pretty much the same
Kansas
amount
City
of stuff.
Zoo is like put on your walking shoes.
It's 3 times the size with the same amount of animals as Omaha, essentially.
Yeah. I have to tell you guys a story. So believe it or not, even though my wife and I went with 3 children, including my niece, which was fun that she went. And, she's older. She's like 9. I went to a game store. Believe it or not, even though we were only there 2 days, my wife let me go to a game store, and I went with my niece. And it was just because we drove by one, and it was just real quick. And I thought this is a good time to just go with my niece to have a little alone time where we could talk about things. You didn't Google
it; you just drove right past it.
We drove past it on the way to just getting something to eat because we didn't know where to go. And randomly, I saw this game store, and I don't know what it is. If we have any listeners in Omaha, you might know. But what was funny about it was I think it was just called the game store or the video game room, maybe
there you go.
In Omaha, video game room. And the outside of it was green, and it had it was kind of different because it just had a lot of decals on the store to show video games. So it was hard to miss, but also you couldn't tell the quality of it from the outside. So I was like, oh, well, let's try it and go in. And it was fine. It was a normal game store. But what was funny was the situation that happened in it. And longtime listeners of the podcast might know that I'm not one to maybe get in physical altercations or maybe something like that, or we've talked about before when once Adam was got pretty heated with somebody who was
rubbed
trying
you
to
the
be
wrong way there?
Well, let me tell you this story. So we go in there, pretty typical game stars, kind of getting lay out of the land. I didn't go in there and say, hey, I'm Video Game Dad from podcast, I'm a big deal or anything like that. You guys are supposed to laugh at that. That was nothing I ever do. But if you've ever gone to another town the first time in a store, you kind of have to get the layout. We forget we know where the things are in the game stores around here. So I go in instantly they've got a ton of PS3. Things are priced fine. There's kind of stuff kind of everywhere. It's a big kind of layout. It's kind of dark too in there, but the people were nice. One of the guys came up, did the normal hey, do you need any help with anything? Walked around. They've got the constant buy 4 get 1 free. And I knew I only had 20, 30 minutes. So I was trying to look around. Bless my heart, and my niece, she kept asking, do you like Sonic better or Mario? And I'm like, hold on, your uncle's trying to look at some games here. I don't know how to answer these questions and stuff. I'm quickly trying to see what's worth grabbing and stuff. And they had stuff for every system. So I'm making way around the store, and it's nice, and the guys are, typical video game store guy, not, nice but nerdy. They're talking about super nerdy stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's a video game store. All right, this is my people.
Surprised you didn't give her the phone and be like, check price charting.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Do you know how to check price charting?
Well, and what's funny is maybe this isn't in the best part of Omaha, and I don't know anything about anything. I just thought Omaha's Omaha. It's a small town, but maybe it's in the seedier part of Omaha because all of a sudden this guy comes in. And, we're still in the guys, public places, city, wearing a mask. He's not wearing a mask. And he comes in. The store owners are very nice, non-confrontational. Hey, you kind of have to wear a mask. And he's kind of he's a middle-aged guy, shorter than me, maybe 5'9", late 40s or something. And he's kind of loud. And, I'm an aisle or two away, but, short aisle so you could see everything. And he's kind of oh, I don't have a mask, or I don't want to do, I can't, I don't have it. I think it's in my car. I'm going to go get it or something. There's can I? And they're well, we can't, and he's well, I just want to see if you'll give me something for my games. He had 4 Xbox games. And, it's one of those, I'm looking at games, I'm listening and just kind of, I don't know. So they have him kind of leave the store, and it's 45 seconds. He kind of comes back in. He's hey, do you got credit for the games? And he's well, you can wear one of these temporary masks. He's no, those are poisonous. I have I'm very sorry. I have my grandson's gator thing in there, and I'm just kind of all right, guy, for French toast, problem with masks. And this is internally, I'm thinking in my head. But the game store people are surprisingly, maybe it's because it's Omaha. I think I found, people say how nice we are in the Midwest. I think I found the primo of nice place, because I don't even think, I was you guys are being pretty tolerant. This guy's just oh, we're not interested, get out of here. He has 4 terrible, not worth anything games, and they say, well, he's they said, well, it's about $8.40, and he's what does that mean? $8.40 is $8.40, or store credit would be it was $11, and he proceeds to be really pissed off about this offer. as if the whole, like, this is a pawn store thing. Yeah, keep the lights on this, but I'm totally on the side of this game store. Like, what do you expect? He's like, well, I can't even, 4 games. Can I even get 4 games for that? What can I get for that? And he's in a whole store to see what he can get for it. And then he starts, like, cussing. And, like, not in an angry way, but just in a kind of belligerent way. Not like he's, like, getting really but he starts cussing like crazy. He's like, this, F this, F that, S that. And I'm just like, geez, like, what is going on? So I don't know what came over me, but I turned around and I got right up to him and I said, hey, guy, could you cut out the cussing? There are kids here. And I get kind of big and I make some big eye contact because I realize I have my mask on. So all I have to project are my eyes. And I don't know why, but the whole thing about the mask and everything else. So he gets real quiet. And I'm also thinking, like, I'm ready to do whatever, guy. Like,
that's like a real dad moment for you.
Yeah. And I felt like, and it's like,
dad level tip.
Yeah. And I don't size people up, but I felt like, and I'm not whatever. I mean, I remember taking two classes of Taekwondo. I mean, I'm a good sized fella, even though I lost some weight. I'm still close to a deuce and I'm over 6 foot, 6'1", 6'1.5". And so I have this guy, but I'm thinking, like, I don't know his reaction. He's obviously crazy.
Yeah. And then he shakes you.
Well, no, the great thing is, and for better or for worse, I think I scare the crap out of him. He leaves his games, looks at me scared to death, and walks out the store. And then I kind of realized, like, well, I just was the one that got real behaved. So I turned to the guys behind the counter, and I was like, I'm sorry, that was ridiculous. He's disrespect. He didn't want to wear the mask. He's and they were instantly like, no, and they held up like thumbs up. They seemed thankful for me to do that. And what was funny was one of the workers back there looked like Michael Clark Duncan. He could annihilate me with one of his fingers. Like literally, like the size. I was thinking like Green Mile. Like he
passed away, didn't he?
He was a big dude. Michael Clark did, but this looked like him like 30, 40 years ago. Looked like nice guy, and obviously the way to do it is just be like gentle, whatever. But he was around back, and I knew at any point he could come and hopefully back me up in case things got squirrely. But it was funny. The best part of it was my niece later. My niece really liked seeing that. Because, my kids weren't there. And she later said, I think he was scared to death of you. And I was like, yeah. But anyway, I don't know if that's even a story worth telling. But
no, I've got a funny story.
That was that. And that's how I almost got in a altercation in Omaha, of all places, at this random video game store. And he left, and people were very happy.
Yeah, I went on vacation to Florida a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, ooh.
And with Shane, actually. Shane and his family. Nice. They have a timeshare there, and we rented a place in their place, and our kids hung out together. And it was fun. I mean, we just basically hung out on the beach.
Yeah.
And but Shane and I, one afternoon, we convinced the wives to let us get in the car. And we were in Destin, and we drove about an hour over to Pensacola. And we stopped at a game store on the way out there, and I can't remember the name of it. And I bought... And this game store was full of weird stuff. They had a Sharp NES TV that they wouldn't sell. And they had a bunch of box 32X games. And I have an almost complete box 32X.
Did you drive or fly down there? I forget.
We flew.
Okay.
But they had some 32X games that were boxed. And I have almost a complete in-box set for 32X. All 30 whatever games there are.
Yeah.
But I got Tempo out of that. Nice. And then they had some 3DO games. And then... I was a little self-loathing as I did it, but I bought Alone in the Dark for the Panasonic 3DO. And then we drove over to this little store in Pensacola, and it's called like Gamer HQ or something like that. It was the nicest retro store game I've ever been in.
Cool.
Stocked to the hilt. I mean, if you can think of like the rarest game on every single system, they had 3 copies. It was bizarre. So I bought Last Blade 2 for Dreamcast.
Yeah, it's a good game.
I bought a couple of Switch games. What else did I get there? I didn't spend very much on the trip overall. Oh, I bought a boxed Game Boy Advance, a box sealed copy of Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
Oh, nice.
And so that's kind of cool. And I might get that graded, actually.
Yeah.
If I ever do grade anything. But anywho, bought all that stuff. But that particular store, when we showed up to it, they have like a sign of like wait here or whatever. So you walk up to the door and they're like, we can't let you in yet. We're at capacity. And so they only were letting like 4 or 5 people in the store at a time. So we had to wait outside the door, and then they let us in. And then when they let us in, they like made us sanitize our hands, and then we had to wear gloves.
It's very un-Florida-like.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of nuts. So I was like, okay. So we went in and we actually wore like gloves while we were in the store and everything. So, but it was real strange. And then there was a time limit because there were other people waiting outside. So you only got like 20 minutes or so in the store, or it was more or less like you better be shopping to buy something or you need to get out kind of thing. But I thought that was kind of an interesting segue. But yeah, when we were in Florida, it's kind of a little bit different vibe than the rest of the country, I suppose. But we had a real good time, for the whole trip, and we didn't do a whole lot other than go to the beach and so on. But it was a nice, relaxing vacation.
Nice.
For a week or whatever, vacation with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the way to do it. Any vacations for you, Mike?
Nah, just going to the hospital and bringing back a baby.
Yeah.
No vacations for him for 18 years.
Yeah.
Every time you have a new baby, you just have to think in your head, the clock resets.
Yeah, I know.
But
I've thought.
you got the kit. You didn't have to switch clothes like Adam and I did. Have to get all new.
That's true. That's true.
Yep. The hand-me-downs are going to be real salty.
Yeah, he might not like that.
Literally. Yeah.
He won't even know though, right?
Well,
for a while.
The cool thing is, isn't it the third boy especially, first one, by that time, that third kid, you're going to not care about, so he's going to get away with so much more. It's going to be chill. And then the older ones are going to be like, wait, what? You did this? And mom and dad didn't even get mad at you? It's like, yeah, because they're at the point of not caring that much.
Yeah, I don't know. This older one, he's gonna like rat out. He's gonna rat out the younger one.
Really?
I know it. Yeah, he's a tattletale.
There is that
he rats
age.
me out. He rats everyone.
I've been having the same conversation with my son. My son tattles on me.
Yeah, that's what happens to me now.
Does your son do this?
Oh, all the time.
So if I'm doing something, he'll be like,
my wife does.
He'll be like, Dad took the TV off the wall and is rehooking everything up. Mom.
Mine will be like.
I'm not looking forward to this stage.
Yeah, no,
my wife doesn't like.
He's a little narc.
We have this like white carpet. My wife hates when I wear my shoes, but like sometimes I forget something, So I ran up and got like my battery for my phone or whatever. Like I'm at work and my wife sends a video of me saying, Dad wore his shoes on the carpet earlier today. Like I can't do anything without him. If I drink soda, like he'll be like, "You're having too much soda" or whatever.
It is
everything.
the same way. I was in the kitchen the other day, and my wife goes to we had a package of Oreo cookies,
I'm already liking this story.
And there was a couple left or whatever. Like the day before, they ate almost the entire package. The kids and the wife and that kind of thing.
Are they original or the special kind of Oreo?
They were the OG.
Okay.
And
I need these details. Sorry. Go.
So I go in there and I'm like, or my wife goes in there and she's going to get herself an Oreo cookie and she looks and the package is gone and my son immediately says, Dad ate the last Oreo. Like she didn't even ask. And I'm just like, dude.
Yeah, I took some of my wife's peanut butter and he started ratting me out on that.
They will.
Like she's like, it's fine, you can take the peanut butter. He's like, no, it's not. That's your peanut butter. And I'm like, what? Like it doesn't even make sense.
Well, okay. But wait, which part's true? Does your wife have her own peanut butter? Or
yeah, it's like an organic thing that I normally never eat, but I was out of mine, so I took some of her. Like I normally get the Peter Pan or Jiffy or whatever.
No, yeah, that's why I wanted to clarify.
Organic. Yeah, sorry about it.
No.
So we get two different kinds of peanut butters, and she normally feeds the kids the like organic one.
Yeah. So you're a Peter Pan or Jiffy fan?
I normally go Peter Pan personally.
That's a good choice.
I just go. I don't really taste a huge difference between them. But
the trashiest of peanut butters is that Reese's peanut butter.
I never bought that.
Oh man,
I've never gotten that.
Yeah, that or Peter Pan.
Yeah,
but they're both trash peanut butter.
Yeah. But they spread so well because of all the weird.
It's because of all the oil. They put in it.
Yeah, I love that oil.
They do
it's
a
just
lot.
Like I prefer actually like blended hot dogs versus all beef because I grew up like on them at the ballpark and stuff like that. That it's just like an all beef just doesn't taste as good.
I
to
have
me.
the same thing, and the burps are grosser with the all beef too.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to burp after an all beef hot dog.
Like I don't mind having either, but if I had to prefer the taste, I actually prefer the combined meat one. Give me some turkey, chicken, and pork.
Yeah. So, what was I going to ask? I was going on a peanut butter kick. Oh, Do they still make whipped peanut butter? That was a thing in the 90s.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
That's almost what the Reese's peanut butter.
That was
is.
like when
it's not quite the same thing.
When they made like whipped stuff. Oh, there was a time where whipped yogurt, and whipped yogurt is still around. But I remember when they did whipped peanut butter, and they did this test on the commercial. Maybe we should find it for a sponsor. And they like dropped this like metal cone and a bunch of peanut butter, and that was their way of on the commercial quickly saying like whipped peanut butter is good because it's more airy and stuff like that. Which now I know is like air means
less of.
Like where is it, like the whole joke about the Kit Kat bar. It's like, wait a sec, the Kit Kat bar, those letters are missing and it's like dented in.
I want mine as dense as possible.
Yeah.
The most mass.
Yeah, exactly. Like you owe me some letters and you're shaking your fist at the factory. It's like whipped peanut butter is great. You know what, do you guys ever do this? Do you ever dip like baby carrots in peanut butter?
Sometimes I don't need.
You've
normally
done that
eat,
before?
I have. I normally just eat carrots
it's
by
usually,
myself.
It's usually celery if I'm going to mix.
Oh, okay.
A vegetable and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Like ant logs, you do.
Oh
that.
yeah,
sure.
ants on a log.
Yeah.
Yes, I would do that, but I didn't do that since I was a kid, and I forgot how like good it was. And once I was like really tired and there wasn't much, I was like, "What can I eat that'll kind of fill me up?"
celery's awesome if you put trash in the little straw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But try it if you haven't at home, man. Baby carrots and dip them in some peanut butter. Surprisingly,
Yeah,
I haven't had that in a long
apples and
time.
peanut butter.
Apples,
goes
of
down in
course.
my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loves ranch, but I don't like it.
You're not a fan of ranch?
Nah, I don't like
I'm
ranch.
not
I
eating
like
that
the only
much.
thing ranch I like is the Cool Ranch chips.
Oh, well, the cool.
That's the only flavored ranch thing I
I buy
like.
blue cheese dressing.
Really?
Yeah. But I feel like with
Yeah,
wings,
because it's mine. Nobody else in my house will eat blue cheese dressing.
but I feel like with veggies, yeah, if
Always mine.
people had peanut butter more often with veggies, I'd probably eat more veggies. But yeah, they always put ranch
Yeah.
out there, and
No.
blue cheese or whatever. It's
ranch
gross.
is great though. There's a lot of people that like ranch.
No, it's super pop.
No, man, ranch is good. My son loves dipping pizza in the ranch. He'll ask for ranch all the freaking time. But I get it. Not everybody are. So not even Hidden Valley.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, man,
Nothing.
my kids are not dippers or condiment people at all. They don't like ketchup. They don't like barbecue sauce. They don't like mustard. They don't like
Really?
ranch dressing.
No, I like
Really?
everything except for that ranch.
Everything. The only thing that they will dip stuff into is cheese. That's it.
Okay, well that's a good thing to do. But honestly, this is interesting to me. I've never heard of kids that don't like dipping.
Yeah,
But cheese is a great dip.
Yeah.
yeah. My kids slather and everything.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
kind of
Like,
jealous
whatever it is,
because
if it's
you
wet,
are missing
they'll
out.
dip.
You are missing out on all the extra
Messiness.
messiness.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
gonna
I'm like
say.
super jealous because my son, like a
No.
way I can get him to is like,
No,
hey,
my
here's some
kids
ketchup. He'll dip
if,
anything.
If
in
it's a
ketchup.
sandwich, it's meat, cheese, bread. That's it. Nothing else.
It's good.
Is it because that's the way you do it?
No, I eat.
You dip and
Just a plain.
Yeah, I
guy.
put as much. Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
you know,
what about Casey? Is
No,
she a
she's
dipper?
like. I mean, she's not as much as me, but like
She still dips.
yeah, but like on a sandwich, I'll put a bunch of mayonnaise or ranch dressing or whatever on it, But yeah, the kids try. My wife eats all
cool.
her stuff normal, but like if we go someplace and we go to like a sandwich shop or whatever, meat, cheese, bread. That's it. If they put mayo on it, my kids won't eat it.
Interesting. I was weird as a kid. I remember when I got I was a picky kid. What do you know? Happy Meals. I would do hamburger only, like nothing on it.
Oh yeah, I just.
That's
well, I
what
did
I mean.
ketchup. I did
That's where my
ketchup.
kids are. Yeah.
I had ketchup, no cheese as a kid.
Yeah.
Somewhere around college, I preferred cheese for some reason.
I remember I dated a vegetarian once. She had a meatless Big Mac. Have you ever heard of that?
That sounds.
That sounds-
That's not a big.
I think they call that a McRib.
That's just called bread and cheese.
So, just for kicks, once I tried it, and sad to say, it actually tasted just like a Big Mac. Like you order a meatless Big Mac because the bread.
It wasn't the meatless Whopper. I guess this would have been a long time ago, right?
This is
No.
This
This
is
is-
a Big Mac without a patty, right?
No, basically you order it and you take the patty off.
Yeah.
Or you ask them not to because I guess vegetarians do this kind of stuff all the time where they're just like, hey, I don't want that or they want this.
I get you. I
But-
was thinking like veggie patty.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
No,
you
like
sound
literally.
It's talking like you're getting ripped off. And
No,
you're
no,
missing
no.
the best part.
And I don't. If I get a Big Mac, I'm not going to get it without. But since I actually had the opportunity to eat a Big Mac without the meat in it, it was kind of surprising and sad that it tasted 99% like a Big Mac.
Well, I'm surprised they don't have a menu item like that.
Well, now that we know, maybe we
You know
should
what I'm
start.
saying? Like
Maybe
they
we
could
should
be a
write
lot
an email.
cheaper. I mean,
Yeah,
like a veggie burger, but like no patty.
yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, yeah. So we should talk real quick about that game swap that we went to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there was a local game swap by a local store called A Game. That's kind of like a little secret fun store in our area that we have shouted out before quite some time ago.
Independence, Missouri.
Yeah, a big fan of the owner. Big shout out to him. But
Sure.
his name begins with a K. How about that? Because I didn't tell him. He kind of agreed to let some local collectors make this kind of game swap impromptu in his area of town in kind of a suburb of Kansas City here. And suburb on the Missouri side, if that's a thing. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a good time. Just set up in a parking lot. Yeah, set up a table.
Yeah. How many tables did you say? There's probably 12,
Yeah, something like that.
15
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, and I didn't even think I was going to go until like the night before. I was telling my wife like, I could go sell some stuff. She's like, take some of your stuff and sell it. So I loaded a bunch of junk up in the car and drove over there and actually did quite well.
Yeah, I wish I would have sold stuff. I actually met somebody who I was sold something to. He kind of came in. It was like same day. It was the only time I had free. I really wanted to go. Wifey graciously let me go to this because I'm like, weekends. I work a lot of weekends. The fact that she kind of let me go for a couple hours and hanging out. I showed up way after it started. You said, what time did it open or start?
I got there
8?
around 9, and there was
9.
already some people there. It officially kind of, air fingers quote, opened at 10, but being that it was just outside in a parking lot.
Yeah, and I didn't show up till probably noon-ish.
Yeah.
And so I missed evidently quite a big rush, but I picked up some fun stuff. I'll talk about that real quick. Just like I finally bought, and it's weird because they're everywhere, I guess, a boxed NES. Never had a boxed NES before, but there was a seller there with one for like a great price, and it looked really cool, and it the old NES control deck, and that was the neat thing. There was a seller there who was letting things go for real cheap, so I wasn't planning on picking up that much, but I picked up that among other things, like a weird kind of 3D stick for the SNES. Some other things I'll have to like look on my phone to see what I actually bought.
Those e-reader games.
Oh,
'Cause I got some of those too.
Yes, the e-reader of the old NES games, like tennis and things like that. There's a guy who had like probably 6-7 different ones.
Yeah, had multiple copies of 6 or 7 different games.
Yep.
And this is for the GBA e-reader.
Yeah, very obscure in the little card pack, but they were still not only in the card pack, they're on the sealed card inside the card pack. And he was, I kind of had to look on the fly how much they were, and I knew they were going for a little bit, and especially now with things blowing up. So he kind of sold them to me for, I don't know, 2015 prices or something, which is good now, especially. So I picked up like 6 or 7 of them for a real good price. And another seller there, sorry I forget his name, some of them I've seen at other cons we were at, and the Lethal Enforcers Justifier.
One of those?
Yeah, boxed in the gun, the big blue gun. Yeah, they have it for Sega CD and Genesis, and he was trying to say there's something better for. He said the Genesis one was better than Sega CD. Someone who like was next to me, like telling me like, "Oh, it was my favorite game." And I remember renting it for actually Super Nintendo, I think, where I couldn't even have the gun; you had to move the cursor.
Yeah.
But I picked it up, and it was box complete. Got it for a great price. I think $30 or something. Like he had it for $40, and I offered $30, and he took it. But somebody said, hey, the Genesis one's way better because you can unload the full clip instead of like having to shoot one at a time or something. I don't know. I've yet to play it, but it's a neat thing that looks good on the shelf. Pick that up too, but I guess I shouldn't take too much wind out. Adam, what else? What did you see there, or anything worth noting that you sold?
I was getting flogged by people wanting to buy stuff. I took a bunch of PlayStation stuff, mostly PS2.
Yeah.
But some PSP stuff, and I couldn't get over how much I sold because I thought, I'll just sell a couple things, but ended up selling a whole lot of stuff. And some kind of obscure things too, but ended up making quite a bit of coin while I was there. And I haven't been buying as much stuff lately just because I've mostly been focusing on Switch and the occasional NES pieces, whatever. But I got those e-reader car games. There was the I'm blanking on the name of it. That fancy Switch grip
Oh yes.
that,
Gosh, we shouted it out before.
I'm blanking on the name of it. It's like Frostbite or
Satisfy.
Satisfy. That's what. It's
Yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah. So there was a guy there I've seen before. Sorry, I forget your name, but kind of local collector guy, very nice. He was kind of had some stuff for trade bait, and he mentioned he had a Satisfy grip, and I was there with you, Adam. I was like, hey,
Yeah, he was
that is
bringing stuff around, seeing if I wanted to trade for anything, and so I just traded him, some money for it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. The only problem that I've had since I got it home is I really like it, but my son is like, I want to play with that, and I'm like, no, this one's mine.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I want to take it off, put it on mine. I'm like, no, it's mine.
It's meant for you have to be.
Yeah.
It's meant for adults.
And it is.
Isn't it awesome though?
It is. It's too big for his hands. Honestly, he just sees me using it, and so I've been having to fight the kid off of it.
But yeah, don't you love it?
Yeah,
It kind
yeah,
of
it's
makes the problem with
and the case
Switch
is
with the small
the case
Joy-Cons.
is really nice too. Came with it and everything. So really, that's all I got. I just got that and those e-reader games. There was one guy that had some import Saturn games. There was one game I wanted to get, but I think he had it confused with a different game that is also an awesome. It was he had X-Men: Children of the Atom, the Japanese version, but he had it priced like the other X-Men game.
That was worth a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's worth a lot.
And
So
he didn't know, and it wasn't worth figuring
yeah,
out.
and that kind of thing. So I kind of passed on that. But I wasn't really looking to buy a lot of stuff. But there was stuff there to buy that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like I said, I had a good time with it. But I'm trying to slim down and firm up as far as the game collection goes.
Sure.
So I wasn't really looking to buy a whole lot.
Yeah. I got a N64 travel case. I tell you, still, I'm pretty solid, and it is hard for me to turn down like old cool cases for like games and systems. There's a guy who had a couple where he was like selling them for $1 a piece. I did recently pick up the old Nintendo travel case for the old NES. It's like a blue one, foam padded.
The blue and red one.
Yeah, the blue and red one.
Yeah.
Case.
Yeah. The guy had it for I don't know how much those are worth. I remember seeing one guy get it at a garage sale once.
Bit, maybe 30, 40
That's what I said.
bucks?
They used to be 30, but that was like a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
so who
probably
knows
gone
now?
up.
Yeah. Well, I
Probably
got
hadn't
it.
gone
I
down.
think I got it for like 18 or something like that. So
Yeah.
I felt like that's
fine.
Yeah. And it's how often will I use it? Who knows? Got some manuals. This guy was giving great deals, like $1 for a manual, and they're all 64 ones that I needed, like the old Mario Kart 64, some of the other stuff. Yeah.
I really wanted to go to this.
Oh,
I
dude.
literally, I had my kid 2 days before, so
Yeah. No. It's tough to
Priorities,
do.
Michael.
I know I should have told my wife to hold it.
A box Super Scope that worked. A nice condition too that I've been kind of looking for, and I think 75 for it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, if I remember that correctly. Oh, and then my biggest purchase, which was one of those things, and it's just like us as gamers, like I don't need it, but I can't pass it up because the price is so good. Streets of Rage 4. I mentioned I'm a big fan of this thing.
Yeah.
I got the Switch Collector's Edition, the big box,
The big one, yeah.
the big box, brand new sealed. Which I mean, on eBay it goes for, I don't know, $275 or something like that. I got that for less than half that, and I couldn't pass it up, even though I don't have the heart to open it because it seems like such a cool freaking thing. But the statue in it's great. I either know like, hey, I'm either gonna sell it for a profit and get more games. And I didn't get this at the con. I got this from actually a retail store, but it was a retail store in kind of a part of town where this thing was just going to sit there forever and take up room. So they already had it for kind of less than retail. So quick check to eBay. I'm like, hey, worth picking up. And collector editions, especially now with people with stimulus money, they tend to like these things and want to grab them. So if it's a good time too to do the whole thing about funding your own game collection by going to stores and seeing what you can find. Blu-rays, DVDs, rare stuff to try to see what you can get on eBay and help fund vacation money, anything like that. But it was fun to pick things up and fun to like just the social aspect. I thought was really nice.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun just to be outside, with people.
I got a
Doing
sunburn.
games, and I did too. Actually, I went out there, and I didn't even think about it before I got there. But it was a
great day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
really
really
nice.
it was a really sunny day. It was nice. It was like 75 degrees, And I stood out in that parking lot for a good 3 or 4 hours and got a nice crispy little sunburn off of it.
Fun. All right, well, it's that time again for Grayson's Game Shark. Grayson, you've been playing a couple games. I heard 3 games. Is that right?
Actually, 2, because I forgot the other game.
Oh, okay. Well, you never know. You got your dad here. He could be your minder. He can he has aim you.
big video game news.
Yeah.
Right, bub?
All right, what is
Yep.
it? What is it? You've heard it here first.
So I actually played Super Mario Odyssey, and I started a new game, and this is actually going to be very exciting.
All right.
Like, I beat all the bosses.
Whoa.
Every single one. Even...
By yourself?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
0 help.
Whoa.
And I also beat Bowser twice.
I was gonna say, because Bowser. Now, spoiler alert. The last Bowser fight's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Don't you
I
think?
sort of... Like, I was so close to dying, but I did... Well, I died once.
Yeah.
Like, I died a couple times.
Sure. It's okay. You know, everybody dies in these video games. The point is persistence, and it sounds like you did. But did you? For real, I'm gonna check your dad.
Why do we fall down, Grayson?
So we can
It's
get
so
up,
we
Master,
can, it's so we can pick ourselves back up or whatever.
Master Bruce.
And I sort of found once I found a portal to Mushroom Kingdom, the last kingdom in the game.
Yeah.
Like it's like you beat like the last Bowser fight is on Moon Kingdom.
And your
And
jump
then
is all
when
messed
you
up.
beat him, you beat the game.
Right, and then it's done. It's
Yeah.
over with. So
And then the moon rock things you might see,
Spoilers.
will actually start glowing.
cool.
And if you hit them,
Yep, you beat another game too, though, didn't you?
oh yeah. But I actually beat Donut County.
Donut County. So
We actually downloaded that game yesterday, I think.
what kind of game is that, Dad? Again?
It's where you
It's
eat everything.
Katamari, except instead of rolling things up, you're making a hole.
I feel like I haven't played that. I thought I did, but I haven't.
Yeah, you start.
And you eat things, and then you get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
At one stage where you eat a lot of rabbits, they start to love each other, and then your hole gets bigger. Like it literally does.
Yeah.
Okay, let me explain.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. So there's a hole in the ground,
Okay.
and it's on all the levels.
And there's a lot of people who tell their stories.
And the hole is small to begin with, and you move it around on the ground and you collect things. And as you collect stuff, the hole gets bigger and bigger until eventually you're swallowing houses
All right.
and mountains.
Yeah.
And so it's like Katamari, except
Oh.
instead of rolling a ball, you're growing a hole in the ground that you move around to collect things.
Okay.
I said that, Dad.
Okay.
Thanks, Pup.
So
But he's talking about the one with the rabbits. I didn't realize you knew what the rabbits were doing down there, but you collect all
could
these
see
rabbits, and then little
hearts.
hearts keep coming up out of the ground.
Yeah.
Oh.
and then eventually.
you notice your hole gets bigger and bigger.
So what's going on with these rabbits, Grayson?
Well, so like when nothing happens in your hole, I don't think you can eat anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really show any of
Like-
that, but what happens after the fact? Like, don't thousands of little bunnies come shooting out of it?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a volcano.
It is. It's like a birds and bees volcano.
Yeah.
And then you can eat all of them.
You can eat them too?
Yeah.
Oh man, all that work the stork did, and then
Yeah.
all just to be lunch. I think and back in the day when you went camping, you would eat rabbit, but it's hard to hunt. Per Oregon Trail, have you played that before? Oregon Trail. I tell you, you shoot the rabbits.
I'm pretty sure he would be fairly underwhelmed with Oregon Trail.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So Grayson, Mario Odyssey. What was your favorite world? Because there's a lot of worlds there. I want to know what Grayson's favorite world is. What was your favorite?
Well,
The beach one, the moon one, the ice
wait,
one.
have you even played it?
The lunch one.
Yeah, I played. I've beaten it.
Oh.
I've beaten it.
Yeah,
So
you joined a very elite club.
Yeah, I've beaten it. I've gotten almost every star. I have like 800 or moons. Yeah.
Well, I don't even have 200. I'm still at 100.
Well, that's okay. You said you beat it though, so you saw the worlds. What was your favorite
Yeah.
one?
I certainly don't know. Like, I had a lot of fun on all of them, so
Sure.
they're all my favorite.
Sure.
But out of all the kingdoms in the game, including Mushroom Kingdom, my favorite kingdom is actually Mushroom Kingdom.
Mushroom? Oh, okay.
And, well, actually it's Metro Kingdom.
The one that's like New York
That's-
City.
Yeah, that's New Donk.
New Donk City.
right?
Yeah. I love that. That level where you play with the music and you're on the top and she's playing like Odyssey, yes, see.
Oh, yeah, like
Yep.
the jazz
Odyssey,
kind of thing, yeah.
Odyssey.
Yeah. The singing one, that one's a lot of fun. They even have you. Yeah.
Wait, you mean the festival?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, where you're like the
Oh, and
lady
you're
singing.
2D?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know you've, like, the barrels were, like, from Donkey Kong.
Yes. Yeah. The barrels are from Donkey Kong. Yep, you are right. That was a lot of fun because that was the old game
and
I
my
used to play.
favorite part about the game is the motorbikes.
The motorbikes. Why don't I remember what those are? When are the motorbikes pop up? I haven't played that game in like 2 years because I played it when it first came
They're
out.
like bikes, except it's like a
years.
moped, like an electric bike.
It's like a moped,
With-
yeah. Yeah, they're like
I
a scooter,
remember.
like a Vespa scooter.
I remember
sort of
now.
thing,
Yeah. I remember. And there's a
if
jump
you-
rope.
And if you throw your hat at it, you get a coin.
I still think in New Donk City, the fact that they have like human-looking people in
Oh,
it.
and
I
in
know, it's
stores,
different.
Kinda weirds
in
me out.
stores,
It is different.
you can buy moon. Well, fact, you can buy stores and moons.
Fact.
I mean, you can buy moons in stores.
All right, fact or non-fact? Can you dress Mario up in other costumes?
Yes,
Oh, fact. I thought you were going to say fact.
I've done that before.
Okay, so fact. And then what's your favorite costume to put him in? Or maybe I shouldn't ask favorite because I think you don't like to choose because that's good of you. You're being
Actually,
diplomatic.
I like to choose.
Oh, you do like? Okay, which ones do you like? Which costumes
Well,
do
I
you like?
never put this one on.
Okay.
And but actually, it's super duper funny.
Which one?
Like, you know, the girl Brutal you beat twice?
Yes.
There's actually a costume about that.
Oh, so you like to dress him up in that one? Yeah. I like the
Like,
chef.
I never dressed him up in that.
Oh, but you were thinking about it.
Yeah, Zebra Gamer has, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the YouTubers.
Yep, YouTubers. I know nothing about them. I'm too behind the times. YouTube in my time was just people doing random videos of stuff and not editing. Tell me about this war game that you were playing, right?
Top War?
Top War, of course.
Yeah, I don't
So-
even know what this is.
Oh, okay.
This game, the game,
What do you play it on?
Like-
What do you play it on? We got to get some facts out there. Top War, and what do you play it on?
my new iPad that I got for Christmas.
So it's an iOS game. Okay, so it's an iPad game. All right. So it's a military game.
Yeah.
What do you do in it?
So you actually kill people, like kill villains,
Villains. Okay, good.
like the Dark Army. I've beat a couple of those
The Mennonites
guys.
would hate this game.
Yeah, has your mom seen this game?
Yes.
Okay.
It has a little M in the corner, Dad.
I guess.
No, I'm just kidding.
He must be playing this one on the work.
No, it's funny.
And you can actually, so you can build, like you can
Oh, it's
build
building.
stuff.
There you go. That's how they
And
got
you
you.
can also combine stuff.
So wait a sec. I'm
So
gonna.
you
Like
build stuff and then-
combine
and then you
the
have a
same
battle?
thing.
So you build things and then you have a battle? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
What?
Since you've been playing a lot of Switch and a lot of Xbox lately,
What?
which is your favorite?
Well,
You're asking
like,
the
I
favorite
lo-
question. I guess.
Like I love both.
You love both?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're very mature. There's a lot of people who can't do that.
And it also has Minecraft on it. We downloaded it on
If it has
it.
Minecraft, it's automatic. He loves it.
And we haven't played much Battletoads, right, Dad?
Well, not in a while, no. Yeah, we played have you played the new Battletoads?
I didn't hear good things, so I didn't figure
Yeah,
I wanted to.
it's not terrible. I mean, we had a good time with it.
I kind of
And
heard
we
people
beat a
not like.
boss.
Okay, so you liked Battletoads?
Yep.
Did you play the old Battletoads?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't like the old Battletoads.
I love the new one.
All right. Well, like anything, if it's your first exposure to it. I just heard a couple people didn't like it, and I base a lot of my game playing on reviews, for good or bad. But sometimes bad reviewed games end up being good.
So I was out here working in the game room the other day, putting stuff up, and he was out here helping me. And I was kind of getting sweaty and thirsty, and I said, "Go get me a drink inside." And so he runs inside, and he brings me back a sippy cup.
Actually, it's a water bottle.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still.
But he filled this up with water, and this is what he brought out. to me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I drank all 4 ounces.
Well, that's good of you because if your dad would have fallen or something, it didn't get on anything, and it fits nicely in your dad's car seat. So no, that's a good get. That's hilarious.
And you'll also have to edit this out, Dad. But I just actually want to say this to Benjamin.
What's
Okay,
that?
go ahead. Don't listen, Dad. Go
I'm not
ahead.
listening.
Sometimes I always get Powerade nerd slushes.
What? You get Powerade slushes?
Yeah, nerds.
Nerd slushes.
Nerd
Oh my
slushes.
gosh.
Yeah, from where?
Sonic.
Sonic.
Yeah.
I've heard of. Oh, they're called candy slushes. I would see those and think, who buys that? Now I know it's Grayson.
Yeah, if he does
Yeah,
something
and
really
I
good.
love it.
Yeah,
Really?
we get the Powerade because it's a little less sugary than the.
Is it?
I mean, the stuff that you normally get.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
unbelievable.
No, I know,
how
I've
sugary
seen-
it
Yeah.
is.
I've seen it.
Powerade's a way.
I
toned
haven't.
down version.
No.
And then
yeah.
one time I just drank Powerade.
Oh yeah.
Only from Sonic.
That's right. It's got what does Powerade have in it, Bubba?
Zero sugar.
It's got electrolytes.
What?
Yeah.
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 Do you know what electrolytes are?
What?
They cause you to shoot lightning out of your hands.
Yeah.
If you drink a lot of it, you turn
Yeah.
into electric. Boy,
Yeah.
you're smiling big. Let's
It's-
just keep
it's
that
what-
going.
Yeah, it's what plants crave.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
I know Dad hasn't ate this type of goldfish, and I don't know if you haven't ate this type of goldfish.
I don't. I keep them in the bowl, and then when they go away, I flush them down the toilet.
No way you do that.
All right, what kind of goldfish are you talking about? Flavor blasted, rainbow? Don't think I don't know about goldfish.
Oh, wow,
I have
man,
a
you're like a PhD.
I have a
in
4-year-old.
fishology, Yeah.
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old. There's a pretzel
Gold-
kind that's
So
pretty endangered.
The name of this is goldfish colors.
Oh yeah, okay, I know
Like
that. Yeah,
it's colored.
yeah, green, blue,
And
red,
the
and yellow.
colors are produced by plants.
Yeah, that's what the
And that's
box
a fact.
says. Yep, that's how they sell them to adults, and so we just throw them down your gullet. Yeah,
Yeah. Plants is in like chemical plants.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the flavor blasted ones. I'll have a goldfish or two. They're not
I
bad.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
it.
like that too.
Yeah, I think that's your favorite one's the flavor
Like-
blasted.
Like the cheddar blasted one.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a
What,
bunch.
Extra cheddar.
There's a bunch. There's reduced sodium. There's a lot. There's a
Extra
multi-pack
cheese.
at Costco. Yeah, there's a ton.
Hey,
Yeah.
can you tell Benjamin what show you've been watching every night at supper time?
Oh yeah, I actually sort of like it. The first time I was like, I don't want to watch it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
what is
I
it? What is it though?
Then I love it.
Well, that's how I felt about Hardball too. Or what show you're talking about?
Fresh Prince.
Oh, of Bel Air.
Yeah, we're watching Family Matters every night at supper time,
Nice.
and now
And,
we watch an episode of Fresh Prince every night.
Yeah, I randomly got in a
Yeah.
little TV too. Not quite 80s sitcom. We had didn't I put Perfect Strangers? If you were wondering, I don't know if we got any emails, but that was
Yeah. Do you know the words of the Fresh
Music
Prince
I did that-
theme song yet, dude?
No.
This
Nope.
is a story all about how.
oh yeah
My life got turned upside down.
Yeah, it's close enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I used to know it. I'm not going to try it now. I don't want to embarrass myself, and then everybody's going to get that song stuck in their head. But yeah, it's a good flick. I would love that.
Yeah.
Yep, I watched that all the time. They had a reunion, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Oh,
didn't
and
know
remember
that.
the Christmas episode?
I don't know if I remember, but hold on, hold your thought for a second. They did have a reunion of Fresh Prince, and they brought back both of the moms.
Oh yeah. No, I didn't see it, but I remember
Yeah,
hearing about it.
I also
I haven't seen it either.
Okay, Grayson, I'm going to tell you about 2 movies I recently watched that do not hold up, and I think you can't even watch one of them, and I would never have guessed. Okay, Coming to America, I loved that one back in the day. The Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in so long. I barely remember. What
I
it's
love
about.
Coming to America. Well, they made
Oh.
a second one, and
Yeah.
let me
I
tell
actually
you,
sort of
it
have
is.
a question for you,
Go ahead.
Benjamin.
Yep.
Have you actually watched Ernest Saves Christmas?
It's been a while.
You have watched it?
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
I thought I put it on and you told me it was no good and you turned it off.
Well, I just wanted to ask him that, Dad.
Yeah.
No, because I was trying to get you to watch Ernest movies with me because we were going to watch Ernest Saves Christmas and Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen the Ernest movies. I don't remember if I liked them or not. I just remember I
loved
was
them back in the
entertained.
day.
Yeah. Isn't it you have a Halloween one?
Yeah, Ernest Scared Stupid.
Ernest Scared Stupid is the only one I remember. I like that one a lot. Ernest Goes to Jail.
Yeah,
Boy,
Ernest
it's all
Goes to
coming
Jail.
back.
Yeah, Jail, Camp, and Saves Christmas were my top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, bub, you know what?
What?
Chicken butt.
Hey.
And you know what else?
What?
I think it's about time for you to get ready for bed.
Yeah. Guess who? Chicken poo. Guess the rest. Chicken breast. Guess why? Chicken thigh. That's Grayson's Game Shark.
All right.
That's why.
Thanks, bub.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you
All right.
later. Have
See
a
you
good
later,
night.
Dude. Night-night.
Okay, bye.
Love you, little guy.
Well, folks, I believe it's time for our
Handheld
Our handheld holla is where we just holla back to some handheld games because it is often overlooked by the retro gaming community. I don't care who you are, metal, modern, vintage, my life in gaming. We need to talk more about these handhelds. Just kidding. Everybody kind of does. Handheld is a great way to get into cheap gaming on the go that you can usually figure out a way to blow up on your TV somehow. But yeah, car trips, airplane trips, bus trips. Everybody needs a good handheld. So we shout them out. This could be popular, not popular, hidden gem, not hidden gem, but covers all gamuts of from the Game Gear to the Switch to the Nintendo to the everything else. What is your handheld holla shout out pick, Michael?
Mine is Ninja Gaiden Shadow on the original Game Boy.
All right.
And it came out in 1991, and it's actually like a standalone game. It's not like a copy of the NES games. It's fun. It's a kind of same, pretty difficult game, but they were able to actually like show a lot of the sprites and show a lot of the action, so it actually worked out pretty well.
Oh, all right. That's a good handheld I pick, and it's called Ninja Gaiden Shadow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shadows. I believe.
Shadows. Okay. All right. Good pick.
All right, I am going to go with a Switch game.
All right.
And this is there's a physical version available from, I believe, Super Rare Games that's pretty expensive. But it's intermittently on sale on the eShop. And I got it on sale the other day for, I don't know, like $5 or $7 or something like that.
All right.
But that is Freedom Finger,
Oh.
I don't know that one.
which is a horizontally scrolling spaceship shooter
All right.
where you take control of a
Finger.
it's a hand-shaped silicone spaceship,
Okay.
and your shooting apparatus happens to be a middle finger.
All right.
And
Gotcha.
it's a real interesting game because you have your normal shot, but you can also use your fist to punch, or you can grab enemies and use their weapons, or you can throw enemies at other enemies
Nice.
using this hand. And
A little different.
it has all these cutscenes in it. It has very dark humor. It has a lot of F-bombs. It is not for the kids. It's for you.
Okay.
So but if you like,
Is Freedom Finger like? Is that an inside joke or
I have no idea where it came from. It's the most bizarre game.
like give them the Freedom Fingers, like the American finger and the middle finger?
Just,
works.
just YouTube
I don't
it.
know, but it works.
Just YouTube it before you buy it, I suppose. But if you like, I don't know, American Dad or any of the Seth MacFarlane cartoons, I'm freaking blanking on the
Family Guy.
Thank you, Family Guy. If you like that kind of humor, then you'll like this game, essentially. But yeah, it's weird. It has all these weird like rock and roll tracks, like they're like real. It's not like normal spaceship shooter music. It's like all these like indie rock bands are the soundtrack and stuff. It's just everything about this game is like super interesting,
Okay.
and it's weird and it's really funny and it's actually a really competent shooter. So I mean it's really good. It's like literally one of my favorite Switch games now.
Wow.
So-
Okay, so I'm gonna have to download this one. How much was it to download? You said.
I think it was like $5, but it was
Okay.
it was on sale. So
okay.
maybe it's $10 normally or something like that.
What do you got as a pick, Ben?
All right, so my pick will be a little different. This one is going to be for the Sega Game Gear, and something the Sega Game Gear has, for not being a large library and not being known for this genre, it has a lot of golf games.
It does.
And before I say it, I will say Adam let me borrow his Neo Geo Pocket Color, which was fun. I could talk about that more next time, but it's got a great golf game on there too. Neo Turf Masters, like Pocket. Playing through that a little bit, kind of getting excited for the Analog Pocket, I guess, and being able to play some of these games. But back to my handheld holopick. For having like 7, the Game Gear, I think, has like 7 or 8 golf games, which is kind of ridiculous. Like, if you think about the library, again, it should have 1 or 2.
Yeah.
It's a bit oversaturated. And what I realized was, like, early on when I was doing collecting, I remember looking up and finding, like, well, what's the best golf game? Because I'm going to get one. You know, when you kind of, like, want to round out your collection.
I do that with fishing games.
Oh, do you?
Like on the Wii, there's like 10 fishing games. Like, I just need the best one.
Yeah, get the best one. Yeah, because you don't need 10 of them.
No.
Well, back when I did some research on this, and there's not much because how many people talk about this on the internet? Like, what's the best golf game? Consistently, in old school forums, there's a game called Scratch Golf. Just like Scratch, SCRATCH Golf. Very unassuming game, but it's the only one that's like not licensed because they've got a couple PGA golf games. They've got Fred Couples, Lee Trevino. They've got some big honking names. And then they have this game called Scratch Golf, which a lot of times if you see a thing of Game Gear games, it's not expensive. You can find it loose for $6-7. It's hard to find. So if anybody ever talks about this being a great golf game, it's a fun game. So it's definitely like surprising. No one's ever going to talk about this game before or after this, not because it's whatever. It's a golf Game Gear game, but it is a really great golf game. And if you ever see it, pick it up because it'll look like a budget. It'll be in the 99-cent, $2.99 if your game store has it. But if they do, and you're somewhat a fan of golf games, even if you're not a golf player in real life, because I don't do that stuff, but I love me a good golf game. If you pride yourself on it, you like a Neo Turf Master or Adam, you like that, pick up Scratch Golf for the Sega Game Gear. It's quite a fun golf game. The best one out of the 7 or 8 available for that system. So we have Scratch Golf for the Game Gear, Freedom Finger for the Switch or anything, I guess, right? Or
yeah,
PS4?
it's also on PS4. I'm not sure about Xbox. It's on PC.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Ninja Gaiden Shadows. Yeah. What system again for?
Original Game Boy.
OG Game Boy. Yes. Our handheld holopicks for this episode. All right. So I think that brings us adieu. I said it wasn't going to be a long episode, but we made it long for you.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you very much. It's been a great longer episode than we were thinking, but we were definitely running out of gas. The dads need a recharge.
Oh, yeah.
And we probably can't recharge any better than without a tasty McRib. So make sure to pick one up because they donate 5 cents to your local charity and another 5 cents to this podcast.
And 5 cents to your cardiologist.
Yes.
Yeah.
In that order.
They appreciate it.
Yeah. Take 2 McRib. What's better than 1 McRib? 2, right?
3.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of sauce. I can already like taste the sauce, right?
Sassy
Yeah.
sauce.
Sassy sauce.
Sassy
That
sauce.
commercial is better than the McRib.
Yeah.
Definitely. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us for this episode 59. We've got a special 60th one planned for you. You just wait. It's not like we haven't thought about it yet. We'll get together as soon as we can. We will, as always, 2 weeks from now, try to get together and maybe fail. But we always know that we try. We appreciate next episode we'll go over reviews and emails. We didn't get time for it this time. Please send us some video game book club picks topics. We love your emails, and I know we'll respond to them when we can, but we'll definitely shout out your reviews on iTunes. That helps us get seen.
Video games at or videogamedads@yahoo.com.
Yeah, definitely, and iTunes reviews. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you guys, and appreciate the nice words that you say. And again, apologies we aren't as regular as we were the first year and a half, but hey.
More kids.
More kids. And congratulations to you, Michael. That is a big undertaking and a wonderful welcome addition to the family. The gifts that keep on giving are our kiddos. So thanks for our wives, too, for letting us bozos get together and talk about video games with you guys. So thanks so much. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining us. You guys got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Good night.
All right, good night. Thank you.
Thanks.